The scene began with a mysterious hue. The girl's tear-filled eyes slowly opened. Her mind was hazy, unable to understand what was currently happening. She only saw her hands clinging to the leg of a stranger. She herself was lying on the floor as if pleading with that person. Suddenly, a voice startled her. It was a white-haired man. The man stared at the girl with contemptuous eyes. He grimaced and told the girl to let go of his leg. She still did not understand the situation before her. She wondered what this handsome man was talking about. The man, with a look of disgust, warned her. "If you do not let go, I will cut off that hand, Kana." The girl was stunned. The man turned and walked away, leaving her sitting on the floor, confused by the name he had just called her. Did he just call her Kana? Her hands clenched her dress tightly, still unable to accept the reality unfolding before her eyes. Kana was the eldest daughter of Duke Addis, belonging to the second noble family protecting the Western continent. The girl was ostracized and called a half-breed. Kana lived in contempt and hatred from everyone, living amidst gossip and curses because of her black hair and eyes. The reason for this hatred stemmed from a long-ago disaster that appeared as a black fog. It was the very thing that destroyed the southern continent, possessing hair as black as the fog, and with black eyes. That is why everyone considered Kana's existence a heinous crime. Her family was no exception. Her stepmother and stepsister saw Kana as a thorn in their side. Her first younger brother enjoyed abusing her, while her second younger brother treated her like a servant. Even her father did not intervene to protect his daughter. Having to live amidst such harsh accusations, Kana could not bear it any longer. Then suddenly, one morning when she was 14, Kana woke up in a completely unfamiliar setting, and became a girl named Ju-hwa. She looked at her face in the mirror with confusion, panicked, not knowing what had happened. Kana slowly pondered. Everything was beyond her comprehension. Was this perhaps another terrible nightmare welcoming her? Kana decided to give up trying to understand and accept these strange events. As time passed, Kana's soul merged with Ju-hwa's body. It became an exchange of identities. Kana thought back to her time in that new body. Although the new life was quite strange, with the memories and knowledge from Ju-hwa's body, Kana was able to overcome the initial difficulties. Despite moments of panic due to psychological shock, Kana still had to overcome it herself, as she was used to enduring and persevering. Living a new life with milestones when Ju-hwa was 17. Ju-hwa in her 20s until the age of 29. Graduating early through the GED. Then passing the Oriental Medicine School entrance exam and earning a doctor's degree. Gaining experience as an Oriental medicine doctor. Everything went well until Kana woke up and found herself back in her original life. Tired and depressed, Kana sat reminiscing about her happy life in Ju-hwa's body. A life where Kana lived on the money she earned herself. A life that taught Kana so many things. Kana knew the warmth of someone's embrace. Learned gentle care and kindness in life. Reaching out to embrace the new life. Kana had opened her heart. These were things Kana had never learned in her sad old life. Kana stood up, walked to the mirror to look at her current appearance. It was a face with drooping black hair and black eyes hidden by that hair. Kana thought to herself, the last time she saw this face was when she was 14. Compared to then, she was more mature now. But this was still her real face. Thinking back to the white-haired man Kana did not recognize at first, Kana realized things were not good at all. With no other choice, she was determined to change. She could not live like the old Kana anymore. Whatever this strange thing was, she would not sit still and endure it. I have got Duke Sylvian figured out. I will just slowly capture his heart like back then. Reading from Ju-hwa's diary while living in Kana's body, Kana angrily slammed her hand on the diary. It was a diary written in Korean. For the past 12 years, Ju-hwa and Kana had swapped bodies. Kana, also known as Ju-hwa, had an exchange with Duke Sylvian. Ju-hwa confidently told Sylvian he could take advantage of her. Sylvian, puzzled, asked her what she meant. Ju-hwa, smiling brightly, expressed her desire to sign a marriage contract with Sylvian. If he married her, Sylvian would escape the royal family's grasp and would not have to marry the second princess. Kana slammed the diary even harder in anger. Frustrated, wondering why she signed a marriage contract with that devil. What good was a handsome face? What good were elegant looks? Kana remembered that after transmigrating, Ju-hwa had fallen in love at first sight with Sylvian. She tried everything to win his heart. Unfortunately, these attempts all backfired. Despite deliberately seducing Sylvian, he remained indifferent. Sylvian, filled with disgust, looked at her and said if he had known Ju-Hua was this kind of woman, he would never have agreed to marry her. Ju-Hua was heartbroken. She wrote everything down in her diary, refusing to give up. Kana realized with a headache, while Ju-Hua was crying and clinging to Sylvian's leg, Kana suddenly transmigrated back, hence why she ended up on the floor as she was at the beginning. Trying to regain her composure, Kana thought about how to deal with the current situation. After 12 years, Kana was now 26, and Ju-Hua must have returned to her own life. She, who only knew how to obsess over Sylvian, now had to go back to work and earn a living. Kana feared that the career she had built under the name Ju-Hua would be ruined by her. Kana reassured herself that since she retained Ju-Hua's memories during the transmigration, surely she would still remember the Oriental medicine knowledge, right? Kana suddenly panicked, remembering her online business. In Ju-Hua's body, she had studied pharmacy, became interested in plants, and conducted various experiments with natural handmade soaps, scented candles, and perfumes. Initially it was just a small hobby, but then she started selling them online. Orders had recently been increasing. Kana worriedly held her head and cried out, "Don't ruin my shop, Ju-Hua." Thinking about returning to Ju-Hua's life. Remembering the scene of her family gathered together. Kana's sadness became apparent. She told herself, I have to stay calm. Being depressed won't solve anything. Thinking about how Sylvian Valentino treated her like dirt. She knew what she had to do next. She would divorce him. Kana thought she would discuss the divorce when he returned tomorrow evening. Surely Sylvian would be very happy to hear her bring it up, right? But Kana realized there was an even bigger problem, her father, Duke Alexandro. Women's rights in this world were lower than in South Korea, so women needed their father's approval for a divorce. But her father was a cruel man. Kana could imagine his harsh words if he heard about her desire for a divorce. He would probably call her the family's disgrace and tell her to die at the Valentino family estate. She suddenly thought that if it were Ju-Hua's father, he would be angry and protect his daughter. Depressed, she lay on the bed. Kana decided to take a nap to regain her spirits. Maybe everything that was happening was just a nightmare. The scene shifted to Kana's childhood. She innocently asked her father what her mother was like. Contrary to Kana's expectations, her father became angry. Kana fearfully recoiled. He loudly warned her, yelling at her never to mention that woman. At that moment, Kana realized the painful truth. Her father hated her mother, and her as well. That is why her family always ignored the insults. Isn't it that child? The one with the black fog hair. Is that your younger sister Orsini? Kana's childhood was filled with curses from everyone, even when she pleaded with them. But they seemed to only see her as trash. Suddenly, she woke up from the nightmare. Beside Kana, an old servant was holding a basin of water and pouring it on her. The servant stared, calling Kana madam and asking what time it was that she was still lying there. Kana wiped the water from her face, vaguely realizing she had just been dreaming. She was still at Duke Valentino's mansion. Kana was dazed, hoping what was happening in reality was just a nightmare. Suddenly the servant angrily yelled, "Are you deaf? I told you to get up." Kana coldly glanced at her. She smiled and asked her name. Remembering how every time the servant woke Kana up before, she would slap and scold her for sleeping late again. But in response, Kana would just endure it, smiling apologetically and thanking her for waking her up. But this time, Kana smiled coldly and asked for her name. The servant frowned, puzzled, not knowing what Kana was thinking. The servant asserted her authority again, shouting, "Is there something wrong with Madam's head?" She said her name was Mari and told Kana to quickly get up and greet the mistress. Kana smiled and said no. The servant asked, confused, "What did you just say?" Kana looked directly at her, contemptuously replying, "I will not go greet the mistress." The servant angrily asked, "What are you saying, madam?" In response, Kana asked, "Who is madam?" Kana confidently told her, "I am Duchess Valentino, and I am the mistress of this mansion, so you should address me as mistress." The servant was shocked, unable to believe what she had just heard. She thought irritably, "It seems like Kana is pretending to be a noble. She is just a duchess ignored by her husband. Her family has turned their backs on her, so she is a symbol of misfortune and disgrace." Thinking of this, she scoffed and said she only considered Josephine the mistress of this mansion. Kana silently looked at her and said, "Give me the flower vase." Without waiting for her to react, Kana snatched the vase from her hands, coldly asking, "There is water in this, right?" Then Kana immediately poured all the water onto the servant and called her an insolent wretch. Kana called for someone outside the door to bring in a cane, to the servant's astonishment. Kana took the cane. called the servant by her full name and ordered her to kneel. The servant gritted her teeth in anger, then shouted, "What are you doing, madam? I have been here longer than you and am the only one Mistress Josephine trusts." Kana calmly replied, telling her she was just a servant, a crazy maid who dared to splash water on her master. While she was the duchess, the mistress of the family, so she had the right to discipline her. Putting the cane under her chin, Kana ordered her to kneel. Seeing Mari's reluctance, Kana continued, saying that if she did not kneel, the other servants would be punished as well. She had to take responsibility for improperly educating the other maids. Kana threatened her, telling her to choose between being punished alone or being punished along with all the servants in the mansion. The servant trembled, clutching her dress. Her face flushed with anger. Seeing this, Kana felt satisfied that she was fiercer than before. She suddenly remembered the words of her mother from the modern world when she swapped bodies with Ju-Hua. When you punish someone, make sure they deserve it. Remembering this, Kana resolutely struck the servant with the cane. The sudden pain shocked her. Kana struck her a second time with the cane. The servant endured the pain in shock. As Kana coldly swung the cane a third time, only when the servant cried and begged for forgiveness did Kana stop. Kana made her list all the wrong things she had done to her. Glaring, she forced the servant to change her address from madam to mistress. Kana warned that if she acted insolently again, it would not end with just 3 strikes. She ordered her to get out. The resentful servant glanced back at her as she left. Seeing this, Kana thought, not unexpectedly, she won't change after just 1 beating. Kana, with a headache, called Ju-Hua's name. In Ju-Hua's body, Kana had made her life better. Kana helped her become an Oriental medicine doctor and enrolled her in a prestigious university. Moreover, she even had a perfect boyfriend. But Ju-Hua had disrupted Kana's life. The scene shifted to Ju-Hua living in Kana's body. A life of being looked down upon. Despite being a noble, she was not respected and was subjected to malicious words. People stared at her with ill intentions. A loud shout brought Kana back to reality. A blonde woman entered and asked what she was doing. This woman was Countess Josephine. She frowned and asked why Kana was not behaving properly. This woman was Kana's mother-in-law and Sylvian's stepmother. She irritably asked if Kana had forgotten the greeting rules. Kana remembered those rules. Every day at 7 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m. These were the times to greet Josephine. She had never dared to dream of going out freely. However, Ju-Hua, while in Kana's body, always followed this rule, thinking she might receive even a small amount of affection. Kana sadly said to herself, "Ju-Hua, we can't be like this anymore. We should not expect anything from people who see us as animals. We have to realize the appropriate way to live." Kana gently replied to Josephine, "I won't forget. But I do not want to do it." Regarding Josephine, she was Sylvian's stepmother, who lost his mother at the age of 10. She remained in the mansion even after the previous duke's death and acted like the mistress. To maintain her position, she tormented and treated both Kana and Ju-Hua like animals. Hearing Kana's response, her face darkened, and she asked what she had just said. Kana replied that she would no longer greet her. Looking at Josephine and Mari, Kana realized Mari would do anything to gain Josephine's trust. Josephine angrily shouted that these were the rules of this family, and since Kana married her son, she had to obey them. Kana gently lowered her mother-in-law's hand. She retorted, causing Josephine to freeze. "Those rules are just your whims, are not they? And speaking of family rules, are not you ashamed of the long-standing history of the Valentino family?" Josephine was too angry to respond. She ordered someone to seize Kana. She ordered them to bring a cane and take off Kana's dress. Kana remained calm, thinking she has gone mad. Mari, the servant, gleefully prepared to lift Kana's dress, thinking, "Serves you right for messing with me." But Kana's actions surprised everyone. She lifted her dress herself, revealing her legs. Smiling defiantly, she said, "Go ahead and hit me, mother-in-law." Josephine could not believe what Kana had just said and furiously declared she would punish her herself. Hearing this, Kana laughed loudly. She questioned Josephine, "Using a cane to hit your daughter-in-law, is this really befitting the reputation of a prestigious family? Duke Valentino must be very proud of your rules." Hearing Valentino's name, Josephine became even more furious, yelling at Kana for her insolence. She struck Kana hard on the leg. While hitting her, she scolded Kana for her lack of manners. Kana painfully endured these blows. The servants outside, hearing the commotion, gathered to watch. Mari watched with satisfaction as Kana was beaten. Kana endured the pain, telling herself not to scream, absolutely not letting them see a reaction that would satisfy them. Mari looked at Kana as if she were crazy. She could not understand how Kana could change so much overnight. Beaten to the point of losing a piece of flesh from her calf, Kana should have been clutching her dress and begging for forgiveness. Josephine was getting tired, but Kana still stubbornly refused to admit fault. Suddenly, Kana's body trembled. Kana said she was not feeling well. Josephine smirked, thinking Kana was finally admitting her mistake. But Kana smiled and looked up, saying, "I should not do anything I do not want to do from the start. Why should I live by mortgaging my time to you? As someone staying as a guest in my mansion, are not you embarrassed?" Seeing Kana not begging for forgiveness but talking back instead, Josephine trembled and asked who Kana was calling a guest. Kana calmly replied, "I am Duke Sylvian's legal wife. This mansion is passed down to the Duke and Duchess. You should have moved out a long time ago." Thinking of everyone greeting her with the title of Duchess Valentino. That greeting would now be transferred to Kana. Josephine glared at her, yelling, "How dare you treat me like a guest?" Kana fell to the side, lying on the floor, surprising both Josephine and Mari. Kana's eyes remained fixed on Josephine. Seeing this, Josephine ordered that Kana not be treated or given medicine until she admitted her mistake. Kana fainted from exhaustion. That evening at the Valentino family mansion, Josephine was still fuming about the earlier incident. She cursed Kana, calling her an insolent, ignorant half-breed who only knew how to hide her face with her black hair and had no shame. She thought that if the second princess had become Sylvian's wife as planned, things would not have turned out this way. Josephine bit her nails, worried about losing all her power in this family. Because they were not blood-related, Sylvian did not give her anything. Someone like Kana dared to treat her as a guest in the mansion. She decided to kill Kana. Josephine thought, Kana has a wounded calf and a high fever. If left untreated, she will get sick and either die or become crippled. Thinking of this, she smiled with satisfaction. While contemplating the plan to marry the princess to Sylvian, she received news from a servant that Duke Valentino was coming to see her. Before she could prepare, the Duke walked in. She greeted Sylvian, asking what he was doing here so late at night. She was bewildered because Sylvian did not usually visit her. Surely he was not coming because of Kana, right? Sylvian ignored her words and walked straight inside. She tried to cordially invite Sylvian to sit. Smiling, she asked if he was thirsty and offered to prepare tea. Sylvian continued to look at her coldly. Instead of directly answering Josephine's questions, he said, "I heard some strange news today." Josephine looked at Sylvian, slightly stunned, worried that Kana had said something to him. Sylvian said, "About the second princess's birthday party. I heard you confirmed that I would attend." Hearing this, she was relieved that Sylvian was not here because of Kana. She smiled and said, "Yes, Princess Luline was looking forward to it, so I promised you would come." Thinking this was a good opportunity for the two of them to meet, Sylvian remained silent. Coldly looking at her, he asked, "Promised?" Josephine was frightened by Sylvian's gaze. Sylvian asked, "Do you have the right to do that?" Her face paled. Digging her fingers into her hand, she nervously replied, "The princess has not seen you in a long time. She said she misses you very much." Sylvian told her to be the princess's confidant, as that was where her authority lay, was not it? Sylvian stood up and said he was leaving. The scene returned to Kana lying on the floor. She slowly opened her eyes, feeling parched. Not knowing how long she had been unconscious, her whole body was burning up. Kana tried to sit up, but pain shot through her. She lifted her dress to examine the wound on her leg. "This is horrible. My leg looks like a rag. I am really in pain." She thought, if this continues, my leg will get inflamed and fester. Without disinfection, the risk of infection is very high. In the worst case, the nerves in my leg could be damaged, even leading to death. Kana forced herself to sit up, thinking about how her mother-in-law wanted her without medicine, without any care. She chuckled coldly, not surprised in the slightest. The people here treat other people's lives like ants. But I am sorry. This much. I am still more than capable of treating myself. Kana found a bottle of alcohol and some rags. She looked at the wound and began disinfecting it. Kana knew it would be very painful, but she reassured herself that she could endure it. Looking up towards the balcony, Kana seemed to realize something. "Wait a minute, what is that?" Opening the door and going out onto the balcony, smelling the scent and seeing the shape of the tree, she confirmed she was not mistaken. This is a camphor tree. It is one of the species used as herbal medicine in Korea, usable from the wood to the bark and leaves. A specific herb for reducing bruises and inflammation. Kana wondered, But camphor trees only grow on the eastern continent. How did it end up here on the western continent right outside my room? Recalling memories from Juhua. Her mother-in-law had someone plant the tree obtained from the eastern continent to show off to the aristocracy. She told the servants that without a magic stone, the tree would die living in a different climate. So, the tree's life was prolonged by the magic stone because of its foul odor. Looking up at the large camphor tree, Kanna wondered if this was a good thing for her. Kanna decided to use the leaves to treat her wound. She told herself she could do it. Pouring alcohol on the wound, Kanna gritted her teeth, enduring the pain it caused. Endure it. I can't faint now. After excruciating pain, she finally bandaged the wound. She had done everything she could. Lying exhausted on the floor, she thought, there are no antibiotics or vaccines here. If I were in Korea, I would not be suffering like this. Thinking about being in Korea, those cruel people would be arrested, and I could be taken to the hospital by ambulance. Or if I had a first aid kit, I could bandage myself. My family would come running to comfort me. Mom would advise me, in times of danger, tears do not solve anything. They only make you weaker. Each thought made Kanna inevitably miss that life. She really wanted to go back, but she could not. Although lonely and sad, Kanna accepted the truth. She was determined to survive in this world. In the mansion's hallway, Duke Sylvian was informed about what had happened that day. The man reporting to Sylvian said that Kanna was seriously injured, and it would be very dangerous to leave her like that. Hearing the report, Sylvian calmly replied, all matters in this household, big or small, are managed by Countess Josephine. After saying that, Sylvian turned and left. The man reporting could only obey and leave Kanna alone. It seemed Josephine's prediction was entirely accurate. Sylvian did not care about Kanna. His indifference to her possible death was no different from a death sentence for her. 10 days after Kanna was tortured by Josephine and Mari. Is this the food for Miss Kanna? Mari cautiously asked the maid. Did she finish her lunch? Yes, she finished it all. Hearing the maid's reply, Mari was quite annoyed. It has been 10 days, and she has not stepped outside. We have only seen empty bowls. She is tenacious. In the mansion's garden, Josephine asked Mari about Kanna's condition. Mari, how is Miss Kanna doing? Mari hesitantly replied. It seems she is still alive, but we have ignored her quite severe wounds. She probably won't last much longer. Josephine seemed satisfied with Mari's answer. All right. Are you sure no one is attending to her? Mari replied. Yes, I have reminded all the servants in the mansion that no one is allowed in or out of her room. Josephine sipped her tea, smiling. Understand. Let me know if you have any good news. Mari stood beside her, covering her mouth with a smile. You foolish girl, why did you bring this upon yourself by messing with me? How dare she touch Mary, the person the madam cherishes the most? Humming as she walked, she gleefully thought, should I secretly check on her today? I won't be satisfied until I see that girl die with my own eyes. Suddenly a maid came running, shouting, head maid. Mari scolded her. Why are you running without looking if the madam sees? The maid breathlessly replied, Miss Kanna. Mari's eyes widened. What, did that girl finally die? She grinned. Right. But contrary to her wishes, the maid looked panicked. Mari immediately asked, What happened? You have to finish your sentence. A voice interrupted Mari's anticipation. Sorry to disappoint you, but I am still alive. Kanna walked towards them, surprising Mari. Mari could not believe her eyes. What, am I seeing things? I clearly beat her like a dog. How is this possible? Kanna continued, I guess you really wanted me dead, did not you? Mari was still lost in her thoughts. Why does her complexion look so much better? Without giving her a chance to explain, Kanna ordered, as the mistress of this mansion, I can't let this go. Bring me the whip. Elsewhere, after hearing the news, Josephine was furious. Can't you do anything right? Who brought medicine to Kanna? The bearded man hastily explained, No, madam, I have checked multiple times, but all the medicines are still in their recorded quantities. Josephine could not believe it. So, no medicine, no one attending to her. Then how can she walk on her own 2 feet and have the strength to do that to Mari? Walking down the hallway, Josephine gasped, Oh my God, Mari, why is there so much blood on your legs? What the hell is going on here? Who dared to do this? The maid beside her explained the situation. Madam, actually, Miss Kanna came earlier, punished her and then left. Josephine's eyes widened. What, who did what? She immediately stood up and turned around. Never mind, I will go see for myself. Arriving, she shouted, Are you in there, Kanna? Bursting through the door, she saw Kanna standing on the balcony. It has been a while since you came to visit, mother. She looked Kanna over. What, she looks better than I thought. Then she asked, "Did you steal medicine from the doctor?" "How could I?" Kana replied, lifting her skirt to reveal her bandaged wound. "I have not even set foot in an infirmary until now, let alone a pharmacy. My body has not been well, you know that." As she spoke, Kana recalled the time she sought treatment for her wound. "Well, I did steal some herbs from the greenhouse instead." Smiling at Josephine, she added, "Don't tell me you are unhappy that I am healthier now." Josephine gave an awkward laugh. "Nonsense. If you were feeling better, you should have told everyone. I came here for something else," she continued, trying to regain her composure. "How dare you strike someone in this mansion without my permission?" Kana stared at her in silence for a moment. "Mari wished me dead," Kana stated. She asked if Kana had finally died, and then she clapped her hands in delight. Josephine cursed inwardly. "Mari, you stupid fool. Did she say that loud enough for everyone to hear?" When no one cared about Kana, if she were to die of illness, it would end quietly. She is a noble after all. If it were discovered that someone intended to kill her, it would become a huge problem. Kana continued, "It is true that Mari said that, so there would not be any problem if I punished her more severely." "Right, mother," Josephine interjected, "the punishment is enough. Mari is an excellent servant who has dedicated herself to this mansion for decades." Kana calmly replied, "I cannot live with a servant who wishes me dead. If you won't allow me to dismiss her, then I will leave." Josephine could not believe her ears. This was madness. Where could she possibly go, and who would accept her? But it seemed that this was a proposition Josephine was quite pleased with. "Fine, have it your way. If you want to leave, then leave." Having achieved her goal, Kana said, "I will leave as soon as the sun rises tomorrow." She turned away, a smile playing on her lips. It was difficult to be kicked out of her husband's house like this, was not it? Everything was well arranged, but now she had to clarify the matter of her being unjustly expelled. The next thing to do was to talk to Sylvian. He would support her so it would end soon. Taking advantage of this opportunity, should she end it? Kana went to the Duke's room. She knocked. "Your Grace, it is Kana. May I come in?" A voice from inside responded, "Come in, Miss Kana." Kana had expected Sylvian to ignore her, but he called her Miss Kana, not treating her like a duchess at all. She boldly opened the door and called, "Your Grace." Seeing the sight before her, Kana's eyes widened. Sylvian with his white hair. He was sitting on the bed, wearing a robe that revealed his wet upper body, as if he had just finished bathing. His lips curved slightly. "What brings you to me so late at night, Miss Kana?" Kana was startled by Sylvian's appearance. It was a face that, even after seeing it 1,000 times, she could not get used to. After all, what was inside that shell was a cold-blooded person with a glamorous exterior. Even if his wife was mentally and physically tormented, he would not care. She was afraid she would die at the hands of such a man. Regaining her composure, Kana addressed Sylvian. "I do not know if you have heard, but surely you have heard the news. Your mother tried to kill me." Sylvian remained indifferent. "Countess Josephine, she does not have the strength to kill someone with a whip." Seeing Sylvian's reaction, Kana affirmed that he knew everything that was going on, yet he was so shameless. "Even though you knew I was seriously injured, you still did not act." Sylvian, with an indifferent expression, replied, "Is there any reason for me to do so?" Kana was now furious. "I am your wife, Your Grace. Your wife could have been beaten to death by your mother, but you pretend not to know anything." Sylvian retorted so. Kana froze. It was the face she had seen countless times in Li Juwa's memories. Curved eyes, a slightly upturned mouth, a gentle voice and a deadly gaze. He continued, "Aren't you still alive, standing right in front of me, so what is the problem?" Kana had forgotten that Sylvian was such a man. Even if she fainted and vomited blood now, he would not even spare her a glance. Kana could not understand. Li Juwa grew up surrounded by love, so why did she endure this man for 7 years? How heartbroken would her mother be if she knew? Kana bit her lip, speaking in pain. "If that is the case, why did you marry me in the first place? Even if our marriage is only contractual, marriage is still marriage. You, Your Grace, agreed to take me as your wife. So should not there be at least minimal respect?" The scene shifts to a large mansion. The gatekeeper speaks. "These are Duke Addis's orders. He told me absolutely not to open the gate if Lady Valentino comes to visit. Please return to the Valentino mansion." Kana was disheartened. She knew it would be like this. It was even worse than she thought. The entrance was completely blocked in case his daughter returned. Duke Alexandro Addis, her father, seemed to have completely abandoned her. Kana sighed. She had long since stopped considering the Duke as her father, but in order to get a divorce, they had to meet. Everything would probably change if her hair were a different color. To explain why black was considered unlucky, one had to go back a long time ago, to a time when the southern continent was still called the land of magic. A time when everyone took daily prosperity and peace for granted. One day, a black fog suddenly appeared. Wherever it touched, life withered away. Natural disasters were rampant. The world was shrouded in black all day long, and people had to abandon their homelands. At this time, the survivors of the disaster were evacuated to the western continent and settled there. It could be said that this was the beginning of the civilization that had spanned about 1,000 years to the present day. However, the western continent was not entirely safe. Although smaller than the southern continent, there was still black fog here. Many strange things emerged from the black fog, amorphous masses, objects, and monsters. Things that did not originally exist in this world. They were ferocious and uncontrollable predators. If a person accidentally touched the black fog, they would become infected. Infection caused people to gradually lose their will and turn into monsters. They would cannibalize their fellow humans. It was said that the hair and eyes of the infected were as black as the fog. So, when people saw Kanna's black hair, they were terrified, driving her away, giving her looks of disgust. Of course, no one listened to a hateful person. Back in Sylvian's room, Kanna said, "I married you, but I did not force you to treat me like a wife. It was fine then, but not now. Even if it is a contractual marriage, I can't continue living like this. I do not know if you have heard this, but your mother kicked me out. I am leaving this place and returning to my family." Sylvian reacted slightly. "You said you are leaving. You are really leaving, Miss Kanna. You want to leave me? Go ahead, do it." Kanna said she would request a divorce with her father's permission. "Fine, I will wait for you." Hearing the cold words from Sylvian, Kanna became even angrier. "You bastard." He looked like he did not believe her at all. Did he think she was trying to get his attention? She had knelt and begged, cried and pleaded, so he did not believe she would leave. Just wait and see. She would definitely divorce him. Standing in front of the Addis family mansion gate, Kanna thought, to do that I have to get in first. Should I climb over the gate and grab the Duke's pants and beg? While thinking of a way to enter, Kanna suddenly heard the sound of a carriage. It was a black carriage. The coachman shouted, "The young master has returned, please open the gate." Kanna turned around in astonishment. If it was the young master, the second son of the Addis family, Callan Addis. And inside the carriage there was a little girl. Why was she covering her face? The red-haired man, Callan, interrupted Kanna's thoughts. "I did not expect to see you here. What are you doing at the Addis mansion?" Duchess Valentino. The scene shifts to inside the carriage on the way back to the Addis mansion. Callan sat in the carriage with a headache. "Let us rest today, Lucy. We will find a new doctor tomorrow." Lucy sat silently, not responding to Callan's words. He called her name again. Lucy said sadly, "Even if we find a new doctor, there is no hope." Callan was silent, saddened by Lucy's words. Lucy Addis was the youngest daughter of the Addis family, currently 7 years old. Her condition was so rare that everyone gossiped and pointed at her. "Oh my, look at that. Isn't that little girl terrifying? Isn't she a demon?" She had seen many doctors, but all she received were shakes of their heads. "I am sorry, there is nothing more we can do. I think there is no other choice but to go to the temple." Although Callan thought it was an absurd method, it was the last resort. But what should he do next? He still had a lot to deal with, and now he had to face this stupid face. "Back in the present," Callan said with disgust, "if you have nothing to do, you would better go back. We are going in." Lucy stepped out of the carriage. She suddenly stumbled. At that moment, both Callan and Kanna turned to look. Lucy hurriedly pulled her hood back over her face. But Kanna had caught a glimpse of her face. Seeing this, Callan warned her. "If you dare breathe a word of what you just saw, I won't spare you." Kanna did not seem to be afraid of the threat. She calmly asked Callan, "Is the treatment progressing well? What did the doctor do? Has her condition been cured? And how long has it been since this condition appeared? Did you start treating her immediately after discovering it? Let me help you. I will try to treat Lucy. In return, let me stay here for a while." Callan became angry. Even the most renowned names in the Western continent could not do anything. "Do you think you can?" Callan seemed to be going crazy. "What do you know, this is not the time for jokes." He gritted his teeth at Kanna. Kanna gently called, "Callan Addis, do not let your emotions get the better of you. Don't you want her to recover quickly? Besides, I said I might be able to cure her. Let me ask you one last time, what is it that you desire?" Kanna's calm gaze and composure made Callan think again. What if she really knew something, even if it was the smallest chance to make Lucy feel better? Callan decided to let Kanna in. Kanna asked him to prepare acupuncture needles for her. Callan wondered what those were. She explained, it is like a needle, a very important tool, and it has to be made precisely to the size and shape I require. Give it to a magic stone craftsman and tell him to use the highest quality stone. Callan was full of doubt. Acupuncture needles, can they really work? Did I put my faith in the right person? Well, it is better than going to the temple. The temple was the sanctuary of the gods who helped purify the Western continent by the World Tree, and it enjoyed diplomatic privileges where imperial law did not apply. Although sacred, it also contained transcendence, so it was a dangerous place, and one could not enter or leave at will. There was no expectation of social order there. He could not let Lucy go to such a strange place. All right, even if it feels like grasping at straws, it is still much better than sending her there. Callan asked Kanna if she had studied medicine. She replied, I delved into the field of alchemy, which is also related to healing. Somehow I learned how to heal. Callan was skeptical. Alchemy related to healing, that is a first for me. Kanna had prepared for this question. It is related. At least the alchemy I learned is. Now I will go check on Lucy's condition. Callan carefully observed Kanna's demeanor. He still did not quite believe her words, but her upright posture and confident attitude, no longer hesitant or stuttering. Even though 7 years had passed, it was as if Kanna had become a completely different person. Kanna gently approached the bed. Lucy, are you all right? You do not have to be afraid. Come out for a bit. Seeing Lucy trembling and hiding under the covers, Kanna gently comforted her. It is okay, Lucy. You are just a little sick. If you take your medicine and get proper treatment, you will be fine. Lucy replied sadly, but the other doctors could not do anything. Kanna reassured her, I have met people with the same illness as you, Lucy. I have cured them and you will be healthy just like them. Hearing Kanna's words, Lucy slowly emerged from under the covers. She revealed her face. All the previous doctors were horrified by her condition. That reaction must have hurt Lucy, Callan thought. Kanna, if you dare hurt Lucy like that, I will definitely not let you off. Contrary to what Callan thought, Kanna calmly talked to Lucy. Come on, try blinking. Let us see if you can. Now let us move to your other eye. Lucy, how does it feel? Your left eye can't close, right? Callan was surprised by this scene. He did not think Kanna could be so calm, as if it were just an ordinary illness that would go away in a moment. Kanna turned to him and asked, Does Lucy often get sick? Callan replied, She occasionally gets sick, but I have never seen her this seriously ill. Kanna's next question startled Callan slightly. Did she have a cough or fever before this condition appeared? He replied, Lucy had a fever once when she fell into the water during a boating accident. However, I did not see her get sick after that, and she quickly recovered. Kanna said no. She continued to ask Lucy, Did you have an earache afterward? Do you hear a rumbling sound in your ear, Lucy? Callan had never heard Lucy mention such a condition before. If he did not know, who would? There was no way Lucy would not tell him about her condition. Lucy now honestly replied, Yes, I feel that way. Just as Kanna suspected. Leaving Lucy's room, Kanna said, Fortunately, this is a treatable disease if properly addressed. Callan was puzzled. When she mentioned her earache, you seemed to understand exactly what she was hiding. Was it because of my mood? Kanna turned coldly. That is not the issue. I do not think everything can be shared with you. She recalled memories of their childhood. You are so annoying, get out of the way. There is a book that fell in the garden. Go pick it up. Hurry up like a dog. Little sister, do not talk to me. You smell like trash. Kanna continued to answer Callan's question. If it were me, I would be the same. I heard Lucy went to the doctor's office. If that is the case and she still says it hurts, that is really insensitive. Maybe she is afraid of hearing people say she is faking it. Callan denied it. That can't be true. I always make sure Lucy can live comfortably in this mansion. Kanna thought, that is right, Callan. Since you were born, you have always been taken care of. How can you empathize with the anxiety and feelings of others? You will never understand these words. She asked Callan, Are you the only one living in this house? The maid's illegitimate daughter is Lucy, right? No matter how well you treat her. Not everyone in this family is the same. Your brother, your sister, your mother. Do you think you can live without caring about their gazes? The two stared at each other in silence. Kanna was a little embarrassed. Nothing to say, can we continue this topic? But it is good. He cares so much about his half-sibling. But not for his half-sister, me. Sister, if you are sick, get out of the way, do not block the road. Please, no one's happy with a sick person wandering around. Lock yourself in your room and do not let me see you. You used to treat me like discarded trash. Now you are trying to be a kind brother. I am taking advantage of you to have a place to stay, but you are still a hateful bastard. Kana spoke up. Open the library. I have something to look for. She thought about the treatment. Lucy had symptoms of fever, cough, and earache due to a viral infection. The typical first symptom was facial paralysis. The main problem now was the ingredients for treatment. Fortunately, the medicines used in Korea were also available here, in the form of Eastern medicinal herbs. Lucy and I are lucky. If the cause of the illness was related to the brain, given the medical equipment here, it would probably be difficult to treat. It is impossible to diagnose it like a brain MRI or blood test. The accommodation issue was smoothly resolved. Callan asked her the Eastern medicinal herbs, do you think they will work? The Eastern continent was discovered by the Debor Kingdom. It is an unknown continent, only discovered 10 years ago. There is very little information known about Eastern continental medicine. At most, it is just tea leaves that have some effect. Kana pondered, it is said to be good for anemia if you brew peony roots from the Eastern continent and drink it. Right, that is all the knowledge they have here. Health teas at the level of folk remedies are just a fad. When used together, it is a combination of ingredients that counteract each other. No one knows the mixture is the purpose of the treatment. Of course, that is the story of those who have never been an Oriental doctor. Kana assured Callan, don't worry, it is very effective. She handed Callan a piece of paper with the medicinal herbs listed to treat Lucy. Astragalus, Angelica dehurica, red peony, safflower, peach seed and saffron. Is this correct? Kana inquired. There is no problem finding them, is there? Callan replied, no problem. He thought to himself, but there are some herbs I have never even heard of. Although not entirely trusting, he acknowledged, still, she diagnosed Lucy's symptoms that even I did not know. Kana instructed, let me know when you have everything ready. In the meantime, I will go down to the laboratory. My room and the laboratory are still there, right? Kana was surprised by the answer. Your room has remained untouched for 7 years. Callan stated calmly, it is the same. Father locked it so no one could enter. Do you have the key? Kana slowly stepped into her old room, unchanged since Li Ju-hua married and left. It is like time has stopped. I thought Duke Alexandro cleared everything out immediately. Why is it still intact? Like it is longing for its owner. As if waiting for her return at any moment. A chill ran down Kana's spine. That can't be right. There must be some mistake. Why would the Duke deliberately keep traces of me? He clearly hates me. Let us go to the underground laboratory. Wow, this place is the same too. If there is one thing I love most about returning to my original body, it is being able to practice alchemy again. This familiar smell of old books. Originally, magic stones were an essential component of alchemy, but it is a shame they do not exist in Korea. Kana seemed to find comfort. She smiled happily, looking at the books. My friends, are you all doing well? These were what she spent her time with during her childhood. In this vast mansion, they were her only companions. Hugging the books, Kana murmured, it has been a while. Suddenly, she sensed danger. Familiar sign. Kana had a bad premonition. Not Callan, not a servant. The worst possible presence. The person walked in and sneered, hey, you piece of trash. You really came back. You are home early. Young Master Orsini. The red-haired man Orsini said, I am tired of that banquet. The same performances for days on end. Is Callan not home? The bearded man replied, about that. Actually, Duchess Valentino visited the mansion. Orsini was shocked. What, Kana Valentino is here? Yes, I heard she is going to treat Miss Lucy. So, Callan went out to prepare the necessary items for the treatment. Orsini struggled to contain his anger. Unless she is gone mad, how can she possibly know how to treat her? Why did you let trash into the house? Where is she now? In the laboratory below. He smirked, it really is you. Still with that disgusting black hair. Kana instantly recognized the familiar insulting tone. Since it was Callan's house, she had anticipated facing him. She just did not expect it to be so soon. Her feet froze, rooted to the ground. Her fingertips began to tremble. The insults vividly replayed in her mind. Why do not you just die? Consider it dying for this family. You do not even dare to look up anymore. If you glare at me like that again, I will kill you right here. Kana chuckled, a hint of amusement in her voice. You know, Orsini, I am really happy to see you again. Kana walked closer to Orsini as she spoke. Honestly, I really missed you. He stared at her, eyes wide. Kana thought, you have no idea how determined I was to keep that vow. If we meet again, I will definitely make you pay for the wrongs you have committed, for trampling on me. Orsini brushed Kana's hand away, scowling. What the hell are you talking about? Did you hit your head on the stairs at the Valentino mansion? When did father forbid you from entering this place? And you have the nerve to act like a doctor? And come here. Kana stepped closer, her voice sharp. Have you forgotten your place, you trash? Then let me help you remember. Orsini lost his composure and gripped Kana's arm tightly. Trash you. Looking at Kana so close, Orsini hesitated. Childhood memories flashed through his mind. Kana interrupted his reverie. Too close, Orsini. Startled, he stumbled back. What is this? Was it always like this? No way. Kana asked. It has been a while since we have seen each other. Don't you remember me at all? Orsini was still flustered by the previous situation. Remember you, I remember you, where did that come from? Stop talking nonsense and get out of this house. It reeks of trash. Kana calmly replied, I will be staying here for a while to treat Lucy. Orsini was irritated by Kana's answer. Is she crazy? How can she not be afraid at all? Seeing Kana turn away, he yelled, Hey, where do you think you are going? Suddenly, a liquid splashed down. It soaked a part of Orsini's shirt. What is this? He asked. Kana smirked. What else? I have to teach my naughty little brother some manners. Orsini mumbled, unsure of what she was talking about. Suddenly, he felt a strange sensation. He unbuttoned his shirt uncomfortably. It felt like burning. A burn-like mark appeared where the liquid had touched him. Kana looked smug. This is one of the medicines I concocted when I was young. It is a liquid that burns the flesh without shedding any blood. It is a special medicine I researched. If you do not use the neutralizing agent I created, this pain will continue. Oh, and it leaves a scar too. She made an offer. If you apologize to me now, I might give you the neutralizing agent. You would not want to be like this for the rest of your life, would you? Orsini's face contorted in pain. Damn it, you piece of trash. Meanwhile, at the royal banquet. Excuse me, Your Grace, a messenger announced. I have received an urgent letter from the mansion. The red-haired man read the contents of the letter. Kana Addis has returned. Callan's face darkened. What in the world happened? Kana replied, Orsini tried to attack me, so I struck first. Callan asked her, Is this what you concocted? Kana confirmed it is. I made it when I was 14 along with the neutralizer. I clearly stated that if he apologized, I would give him the neutralizer. But in the end, he was stubborn and fainted. Callan stared blankly as she spoke. Kana continued. Have you prepared all the herbs and acupuncture needles I requested? Callan replied that they would be delivered at night. Kana seemed slightly surprised. That is rather quick. Let me know when everything is complete. Callan agreed. All right. As for my brother, I will send someone over. Kana replied indifferently, fine, and left without further concern. Callan remained silent, lost in thought. She said she concocted that at 14 Orsini, one of the best swordsmen of the empire, capable of shattering a boulder, was easily defeated by that medicine. At the age of 14. To create such a weapon. Unbelievable. Someone so talented. Why did she endure living like that until now? No, that person has changed. With such resolute eyes, she did not even hesitate to retaliate. After some time, the acupuncture needles were delivered to Kana. Kana picked one up gently. Examining it, she thought approvingly, well made. She mused, acupuncture can clear blocked blood flow. It allows blood to circulate throughout the body. Using magic stone needles would be the most effective for treatment. A very expensive acupuncture method. I have also accurately measured the herbs and divided them by type. Just one more thing left. She handed Callan a piece of paper. Now stamp this. Callan looked surprised. Contract. Are you doubting what I said? Kana retorted sharply. I just want to be sure. Callan sighed in exasperation, giving in. He stamped the contract, muttering, You must treat Lucy as promised. Kana picked up the contract, satisfied. Course. Then let us begin the treatment. Quickly and efficiently, she instructed Lucy. Please tie your hair up to expose the back of your neck. All right, now lie down. Good job. I will begin now. Relax. Just as Kana was about to insert the needle, she heard a shout. Up. Callan approached suspiciously. What the hell are you doing? Are you crazy? Are you trying to stab her soft flesh? Lucy, hearing this, looked frightened. Stab me. Kana stated firmly. I am in the process of treating her. Step aside. Callan continued his questioning. You call that treatment? Kana's voice turned cold. Shall I stop then? I will stop the treatment and end it. Callan lowered his head slightly, his voice soft. Honestly, I have never seen this treatment method anywhere before. Kana replied, I told you this is a therapy I discovered while studying alchemy. Didn't you trust me and entrust me with this responsibility? I can only proceed if you have faith. Choose one. There is no such thing as a half-hearted attitude in this world. Callan fell silent, pondering. The pressures faced by the Addis family, a duchess unable to secure her rightful place among the nobility. Wasn't that Kana's story? What have I missed and not known all this time? Can I trust the person before me now, and her abilities? Using acupuncture on delicate skin seems like a nonsensical treatment, but looking at her confidence, my expectations have risen somewhat. He hesitated. His arm relaxed slightly. Trust you. Please continue. Kana turned around coldly. All right. Step back and do not hinder me any further. Inwardly, she was incredibly frustrated. This whole situation was irritating. Because of this, the child is scared. If she is tense, her muscles will tighten, causing more pain. Kana gently called out to Lucy. I'm sure you will recover soon, so trust my method and cooperate with me, okay? Can you do that? Lucy looked dazed, tears welling up in her eyes. Can I really get better? You are the first person to tell me that. I am so happy. Trust you. Kana smiled, inwardly praising her. She is so cute and speaks so maturely. She resumed her work. Then lie face down again and expose your neck. A while later, Lucy sat up on the bed, her speech slightly slurred. Callan noticed that the tension in Lucy's lips had lessened. Kana encouraged her, see, you can do it. Trusting me was the right decision. She thought to herself, I did not expect her to recover so quickly. The magic stone's healing effects are much greater than expected. Anyway, she will fully recover in a few days. Please brew the herbal packets and have her drink them every day. Callan nodded beside her. I understand. Kana turned around. All right, that concludes today's treatment. I'm going to sleep. As she walked away, she turned back when she heard Callan call her. Callan's expression looked troubled. He turned his face away slightly, saying, it is nothing. Rest well. Kana did not bother, continuing to walk away coldly. Then I will be going. As she walked, she thought that Callan, judging by his reaction, he must have many questions. And it is true, I am completely different from the Kana of 7 years ago. But I am not curious anymore. The words he was about to say. The Addis family. Nothing in this world. When I was young, I wanted to be recognized as a member of this family. Now it does not matter anymore. They do not like me anyway, and I do not bother trying to get along with them anymore. Lying in bed, wanting to sleep, Kana remembered she should change her clothes. She had seen countless times how they changed, just like now. The cruel face of the woman shrieked. Why are not you getting up yet? Kana retorted coldly, honestly, how many times has this happened? It was Kana's stepmother, the lady of the Addis household. She yelled at Kana, did you do this to Orsini? How dare you do this to my son? She slapped Kana again. Kana thought to herself, still loves her son as always. She asked coldly, shouldn't we talk first? Why resort to violence without any explanation? Chloe raged, what kind of attitude is this? A voice interrupted. Callan appeared unexpectedly. Mother, what are you doing? Chloe replied, I have something to ask her. What is going on? Wasn't Kana kicked out of here before? Is Orsini injured anywhere? Kana interjected, kicked out, I just left after I got married. Chloe stammered that. Callan cut in, she is back. She is my guest, so please be polite, mother. Chloe suppressed her anger. Kana, you are a guest, it has been a while. But I can't say I am happy to see you again in this situation. Kana responded indifferently, same here. Chloe continued, Orsini is in a lot of pain right now, and only you have the antidote. Stop tormenting him and give me the antidote. Kana smirked. It would have been nice if you had apologized for what you did earlier. Chloe flinched. Then, lifting her skirt, she bowed slightly. I apologize. It was my fault. I won't do it again. Kana was slightly surprised, thinking, apologizing so quickly, she has gotten older and more experienced. Smarter than Orsini. She stood up. If you say so. I understand. Here. Apply it drop by drop, and the wound will heal. She handed Chloe a small bottle. She mused, Orsini should have apologized directly, but it does not really matter. Orsini does not hold much value to me. That was just to vent my anger. Chloe asked excitedly, is this the antidote? You should come along. It is only right to treat the wound you caused yourself. Kana smiled inwardly. It seems she does not quite trust my antidote. She replied, right. Take me to Orsini's room. They went to Orsini's room together. Upon seeing Kana, he gritted his teeth. You filthy trash. Kana responded coldly, keep talking. Who knows, I might just break this bottle too. Just shut up. It will be over soon. Orsini's expression shifted slightly. Kana asked, does it hurt? Do you trust me? Are you sure this medicine will penetrate your skin without burning your heart? Chloe, standing behind them, could not help but interject. She grabbed Kana's arm. What do you mean by that? Kana glanced at her, thinking what it was just advice to be more careful in the future. He shrugged. I was joking. Is that enough to make a skilled swordsman like Orsini tremble in fear? Then she quickly got to work. She poured the medicine onto Orsini's chest. The wound closed immediately. Chloe and her son's faces paled as they witnessed this. Chloe's eyes widened. The wound healed instantly, even if it is an antidote. Henna. She actually knows how to concoct it using alchemy. Wasn't that just the useless hobby of a good-for-nothing child? Kana got up from the bed. She walked out of the room coldly, saying, done is not it, the pain is gone now. I am going back to sleep. She grumbled inwardly, disturbed while sleeping. I need to rest well. If they wake me up one more time. That moment, Kana stopped breathing. Things were not going her way at all. Why was Alexandro Addis here? Alexandro reached out his hand, gently placing it on Kana's face, calling her name Kana Addis. Kana's face paled in disbelief. What was this? He had never laid a finger on her before. What was this hand? Wait, he just called her Kana Addis, not Valentino at that moment. Alexandro opened his mouth and asked, you are back? Kana regained her composure and replied, it has been a while, father. She sighed inwardly. She did not want to call him that at all. Why did she suddenly do it? Calm down first. Now someone could chase her away. Thinking that, she spoke up, I will explain. I stayed here because the mother and daughter were also looking over. Chloe thought in surprise, he always forbids Kana from coming here, but now he is not kicking her out immediately and even listening to her. It is like he is actually listening to what Kana has to say. Kana finished her explanation. That is why I am here. It is for Lucy's treatment, so please do not scold Callan. Alexandro's silence was suspiciously quiet in response. It made Kana wonder, what is this? Say something, if you're going to scold me, do it quickly. Very quickly Alexandro spoke, all right. Do as you please. Before Kana could understand, he turned and left. She froze in place. Do as you please, what did that mean? It was not, if you want to die then do as you please, was it? One day after the Duke shocked the Addis family, Isabel's angry voice rang out, tell me again what happened while I was away. Did Kana come back? Isabel Addis, Callan's twin sister, finally. All members of the Addis family were gathered under one roof. Isabel reminisced, 7 years ago when my sister got married, I thought I would never see her again. Before my father's warning not to appear before the nobles. Everyone rumored that she was severely abused at her husband's house. Thanks to her I felt so happy. It is better not to have a sister who tarnishes the family's reputation. However, at this moment Chloe frowned and said, it seems that Callan made a pact with Kana, allowing her to stay here on the condition that she helps Lucy recover. Isabel froze after hearing her mother's confirmation. Her face paled as she asked, what is going on? Callan was sitting in his study when he heard a commotion. Isabel stormed into the room, looking annoyed, and called him. She asked, I heard about it. Why did you do that? What kind of illness can she cure? She is not a doctor. Callan replied in a low voice, yesterday, she came here for treatment only once, and Lucy's condition has improved significantly. Isabel held her head in frustration. Do you believe her, that dirty girl? Does she know how to make an antidote? Even if she has the ability to treat, is that the only reason she came back? Callan coldly asked her, is Lucy's illness the only reason? Isabel was startled, realizing she had misspoken. No. But Lucy is just the daughter of a lowly maid. Honestly, what can that face do? His serious demeanor made the matter even stranger. Thinking, she walked over and slammed her hand on the table, asking, brother, I am your twin sister, but why do you protect Lucy more than me? Callan's face darkened. Get out of my room. Immediately. Isabel's face went blank. Is he kicking me out? What did I do wrong? She quickly went to Orsini. So you are here. Listen to me. That trash, Kana, has returned to the mansion. What if she stays too long? Brother Callan ignores everything I say. Don't tell me you too. Are you listening to me? Why are you just spacing out? Isabel clutched her head in frustration. Honestly, who can I complain to now? A moment later, outside Duke Alexandro Addis's office. Isabel was struggling internally. Let us go. No, I am afraid of father. She recalled, since I was little, Father has been a source of fear for me. Even though he has never punished or scolded me, I have always been terrified of him. With his handsome looks and eternal youth, people are often envious of someone as powerful and transcendent as my father. But they just say that without knowing anything. Just looking into Father's eyes, you can tell. He sees me and the family as inanimate objects. So, there is no point in expressing my opinion to him. But I hate the sight of her in this house. What should I do now? She went downstairs and called out, "Kana, sister. Long time no see. Are you well?" With a smile on her face, she thought to herself, so dirty. I hope I do not get contaminated. Kana smiled faintly and asked, "Isabel, you must have been living well lately. Have not you?" Isabel was secretly suspicious. Why is she talking like nothing happened? She put on a fake smile and said, "By the way, sister, is that true about you treating Lucy?" Kana replied, "I am still trying to treat her." Isabel gave a fake smile. "That is amazing. Even the doctors could not touch her. How did you do it, tell me?" Unexpectedly, Kana replied, "No, I can't tell you." Kana suddenly brushed her hand away. "Don't try to act friendly with me." Isabel, taken aback by the unexpected response, was left speechless. Until she went into her room. She angrily cursed, "Damn it. Has she finally gone mad? I am being so nice to her, she should be happy. Don't try to act friendly, seriously. Is there really no other way? What if I can't get her to leave? No, Kana is a nuisance. She suddenly hates me, she is the one causing trouble for the family." After Kana's appearance, the Addis family became entangled in false rumors. Kana's black eyes and hair. Besides being considered unlucky because they resemble the black fog, she also resembles black believers, the lunatics who worship the black fog. So, Duke Addis colluded with the black believers, and Kana is the child born from a black believer and the Duke. The rumors began to spread among the people, growing bigger and bigger like a snowball. There were even suggestions to strip Father of his title. There is only one way to stop those rumors. Coincidentally, black monsters invaded the capital, and Father himself destroyed them. The Addis and Valentino families are the only two households in the empire that can stop the black fog. There is no way someone like Father would have a child with a dirty black believer. After that, the suspicions disappeared. The fact that Kana grew up with black hair and black eyes did not change anything. Unlucky, disgusting, dirty. Even if she is family, what do others think? She is like vermin. I am being rejected by that vermin. I have to get her out of here. But Brother Callan has already made a pact with her. Why did he do such a stupid thing? Wait a minute, what if I take advantage of that? She is staying at the mansion to treat Lucy. Can do that. Isabel smiled cunningly. On this side, Kana was sitting on a chair, reading a diary and thinking, after all, Kana is an abandoned child in the family. Everyone calls her trash, everyone hates her. Not just her family. I am isolated by everyone, nobody likes me. 12 years ago, Juwa's diary was filled with only pain. Kana's tragic life has now become my life. An equal society, a warm family. That was originally Juwa's life. While I grew up in happiness, Juwa fell into a situation where everyone hated her. When she was only 17, too young. I feel angry being toyed with like this, but I can't blame Juwa. Juwa lived here for 12 years because I lived like that before. This is not my fault or Juwa's fault, but the fault of those who pushed us to the edge. Those disgusting things. I want to leave this place quickly. Fortunately, Lucy is getting better soon. Just then, a servant entered and called, "Miss Kana, Madam is calling for you." Kana asked in surprise, "What? Why suddenly?" A guard came and grabbed Kana's arm. She angrily shook him off and shouted, "What are you doing? Do you hear my words? What is going on?" The maid coldly said, "Miss Lucy is in critical condition now." A moment later, she led Kana to Lucy's room and announced, "Madam, Miss Kana is here." Looking at the chaotic scene, Kana assessed, "Let us see. There are two caretakers. Lucy's personal maid." And she saw Lucy breathing heavily on the bed. Callan sat silently in front of the sickbed. Kana was slightly stunned. Then she stepped forward, ignoring Isabel's sinister smile. Kana demanded of Callan, "Move aside. Let me see Lucy's condition." Unexpectedly, Callan flew into a rage, pushing her hand away and shouting, "Don't touch her. Entrusting Lucy's care to you was my mistake." Kana looked at her reddened hand and called in a low voice, "Callan, I need to check Lucy's condition first." At this point, Callan seemed to have lost his composure. He gritted his teeth and scolded, "It is all your fault, she has never been this sick before. From now on, I won't trust you anymore." "What makes you think?" Kana interrupted him, "Are you whining to me right now? If you have to cry and wail, go ahead. If you want to curse or resent me, feel free to do so. But not now. This is not the time for you to express your emotions. She pointed to Lucy on the sickbed and continued. She is sick, so move aside and let me see her. Isabel, standing behind them, was alarmed. Is she crazy? Callan, in front, was also stunned by the scolding. Canna walked straight forward, saying, if you understand, then do not get in my way. She ignored him and went to examine Lucy. Why did this suddenly happen? Is her condition really this bad? The second treatment this morning was still fine. From what I can see now, fever, shortness of breath, convulsions, all these symptoms are unrelated to facial paralysis. This is not a new illness. Illnesses progress sequentially like a drizzle. There is no way she could suddenly get sick without any reason. This can only be explained by. There is only one reason. Canna looked towards the maid. She asked, what did Lucy eat today? What did Lucy eat all day today? Tell me everything. Hearing this, Isabel quickly intervened. Are you really overdoing it? Stop it. Don't you feel guilty towards Lucy? This is enough. I know everything. You are using Lucy to get back into the Addis family. Are not you? Even though you know nothing about medicine, you are still doing this. Canna ignored her and continued to ask the maid. Why are you just standing there? Tell me what Lucy ate today. Isabel froze. She is ignoring me completely. The maid hesitated. That. Nothing particularly strange. Miss Lucy was normal until this morning. There is only one reason why her condition deteriorated in a few hours. Canna concluded, she ate something harmful. I planned Lucy's specific diet. Did she eat anything other than that? The maid hesitated. That. At that moment, Isabel suddenly rushed forward and yelled, stop. Everyone was surprised by her reaction. Isabel was secretly frightened. Why did the conversation come to this? No way that stupid trash realized. I can't let her stay here anyway. So she shouted, I told you to stop. How long are you going to harass Lucy? Even if you want to stay in this mansion, pretending to understand medicine and doing this to Lucy is too much. Even if it is for Lucy, you can't do this anymore. She thought to herself, if so, I should choose this method. A stomachache for a few days immediately after drinking it. It is not my fault. The pain will stop at diarrhea and high fever. I did not want it to go this far. Isabel quickly opened the door and called, someone catch Canna and lock her in the room. The two guards froze. Isabel shouted again, what are you standing there for? Don't you understand what I am saying? Why are not you moving? Are you going to just leave Lucy like this? Chloe, sitting on the bed, realized, I think I know what is going on. So she spoke up, do as Isabel says. Look, Canna is all red. It is better to go back to her room and rest. Chloe looked at her mother happily. She got my hint. The two guards stepped forward. Yes, madam. Then let us go. They approached Canna. Canna angrily asked, are you out of your minds? This is not the time for this. A sick child needs immediate treatment. Isabel gritted her teeth impatiently. Hurry up, hurry up. Why are you hesitating? Does Canna, looking like that, even qualify as a noble? She ordered the guards, lift her up. Even if you have to force her, take her away. Canna's face paled with anger. The guards obeyed the order and carried her horizontally. Canna felt extremely insulted. This is like carrying livestock. Callan finally spoke up. What are you doing? Stop immediately. Canna looked at Callan in surprise. Why is Callan acting like this? Did he eat something wrong? Callan angrily walked towards the guards and shouted, get out of the way. He lifted Canna up. His face darkened slightly. He remembered his childhood. When he saw Canna's pitiful appearance. Canna now demanded of him, put me down. Callan was startled and released her. I apologize. All of you get out. The two guards bowed their heads. Yes, young master. Seeing the two leave, Isabel became flustered and afraid. She angrily asked Callan, what the hell are you doing? Lucy is like this because of Canna. Callan angrily scolded, shut up, Isabel. You dare order your subordinates to lay their hands on her. Do you even think? Isabel stammered, are you mad at me now? It is not me you are covering for her. She was secretly panicked. How could this be? He was even intimate with that filth just now. Not funny at all, traitor. Isabel burst into tears in anger. Then she turned to her mother. Mother, did you hear what he said? Why do I have to listen to such words? I am just worried about Lucy. Chloe calculated silently. It is annoying that he is protecting Canna, but when Callan is angry, do not interfere. It won't end well. She stood up and said, I am a little tired. I should go rest for a while. Isabel anxiously called, Mother, wait a minute, just a minute. Chloe replied, Isabel, it is late. You should come with me. Isabel panicked. I will stay here. I am worried about Lucy. She thought to herself, while I am not here, I do not know what Canna will do. Isabel sighed, all right, then I will go first. At this time Callan spoke up, "You go too." Isabel was about to argue, but Callan interrupted. "Don't make me repeat myself." Kanna thought to herself, "I have felt strange this whole time. Chloe, there is something suspicious about her." So she said, "It is okay, leave it." Kanna thought that sooner or later, that shallow trick would be exposed anyway. She continued to the maid, "Compared to that, tell me what Lucy ate." Isabel gritted her teeth. "She won't tell the truth, will she?" Callan urged the maid, "It is okay. Just do what she says." The servant replied, "The meals are prepared according to the separate menu you specified, and Miss did not eat any snacks. But she did drink tea after the meal. She said the tea tasted a bit strange. She did not say anything the previous days." Kanna said suspiciously, "Is that so? Then bring it here." The servant hurried away saying, "Yes, I will bring it right away." Isabel behind her was afraid. She is going to bring it up. What now? It will be all right. Unless she is an expert, she won't be able to tell the difference. Calm down. The servant quickly brought the tea. "Here it is. This is the tea Lucy drank." Kanna picked up the teapot, opened the lid, and asked, "Is this scent lavender tea?" The maid nodded. "Yes, Miss Lucy likes lavender tea." After pouring it out, Kanna silently realized, "This seems to be that thing." Callan spoke up and asked, "Is this the smell of lavender?" The maid nodded. "Yes, this is lavender tea leaves." Isabel also pretended to nod. "That is right. I also really like this tea. Could Lucy have been mistaken? Maybe she has changed her taste." She secretly thought, "Good, I will just pretend." She continued, "This is the first time I have heard of there being a problem with lavender tea leaves. There must be some mistake." Kanna replied in a low voice, "No, there is something else mixed in here." Isabel's face paled. She shouted, "Sister, is not that absurd? If it were mixed with something else it would have been obvious." Seeing the two of them silent, she smugly continued, "This is a serious matter that cannot be ignored. I am sorry, but I will report this to father." Kanna asked coldly, "Is that so?" Isabel retorted, "Are you still not admitting your mistake even now? You are pretending to know something and finding fault in a strange way. If it were me, I would not be able to hold my head up high and act so shamelessly. I did not think you were like this. You are so cruel, sister." She chuckled to herself. "Does it hurt? Being hit by my decisive blow, how does it feel? I will drive you away so you will never think of stepping foot in this house again." At that moment, Kanna suddenly spoke, "Isabel, you seem too excited. Can you calm down a bit?" Isabel stiffened. What are you talking about? Even if you want to stall for time, it won't do anything." Kanna replied, "Not that. Luckily I did not spill all the tea." Kanna took the other pot and said, "Use this to make tea," and offered Isabel a cup. "If you drink this, you will calm down, won't you?" Isabel paled. Kanna continued, "It just so happens that there is a kind of tea you really love here." "Right." Isabel's face was now ashen. The hot tea was brought up. The spot over there was now empty. Kanna sighed inwardly, thinking, "I was not expecting much, but why did she leave right away?" It turned out that Isabel had run off immediately when Kanna offered her tea. "I am not in the mood for tea right now. I will go ahead. I do not want to waste any more time on this." And so she quickly lost her tail. Isabel still secretly believed that everything she did was for the Addis family, but she did not expect Lucy to go this far. "I can't forget that look. It was terrifying. Callan, do not look at me like that." Callan wearily wondered, did Isabel do this? So what was it mixed with? Kanna held out her hand and said, "This is a red bean flower, specifically the bud. Initially, if the tea leaves are dried, the color and shape will be similar. Red bean plants are almost odorless, making them even harder to distinguish. But if you look closely, there is something curled up among the dried leaves, right? The color is also darker. That is the red bean plant." Callan nodded. "See, if that is the case, then this so-called red bean flower bud is poisonous, right?" Kanna shook her head. "No, it is a medicinal herb. But if a large amount is consumed, it becomes poisonous. The symptoms of poisoning are abdominal pain and diarrhea, that is all." Callan fell silent. Lucy was bleeding. She was also nauseous and convulsing, and now even breathing is difficult. That is not a mild stomachache. If you did not know, there was toxicity in the tea. At that moment, Kanna patted his shoulder. "Callan, calm down." "No. Because it has ingredients that counteract the medicine I prescribed. In the medicine Lucy is taking, there is something called licorice. However, when red bean flowers meet licorice, the toxicity increases several times. This medicine was originally prescribed by a doctor. It is clear that even the person behind this did not know it would become this serious. The person behind this probably wanted Lucy to experience extreme pain. If Lucy continues to be ill, I will violate the contract and leave this mansion. That is what she wants. The situation has become more serious, so I am sure that person is shaking like a leaf. Callan held his head and asked, "Can Lucy recover?" Kana smiled and stood up. "Don't worry, if she takes what I prescribe, she will recover. I am sure of it. Go to the medicine room and prepare the medicine according to this list. I will directly weigh and measure the amount." Kana suddenly heard Callan say from behind, "Sister, I am sorry about earlier." Callan bowed his head with a look of remorse. Kana froze. Then she asked coldly, "What is with you suddenly? If it is about Lucy, do not worry. I will treat her until the end of the contract." Callan explained, "It is not that." Kana asked coldly again, "Why do you keep calling me sister? Just call me as usual. Don't you feel more comfortable that way? Normal. Don't do things like that anymore. You hate me, right?" A month later, Lucy happily walked over and called Kana's name in the garden. Kana smiled and asked her, "Did you sleep well?" Lucy politely replied, "Yes, good morning to you too." Kana thought to herself, Lucy has finally fully recovered. It is time to directly face the next opponent. Don't forget that treating Lucy was just an excuse for my real purpose. I will leave this boring place after Lucy's treatment is finished. Seeing her talking non-stop like this, it seems she is no longer having any problems. At this rate, she is recovering pretty quickly. At that moment, Lucy suddenly remembered something. "Oh right. I have something I want to talk to you about privately. Sister, let us go out." Kana asked in surprise. "Go where?" Lucy immediately suggested, "Sightseeing in the inner city. I want to go with you and Callan too." Kana was stunned, then heard Callan's voice. "Don't worry. If you are reluctant because of me, then I won't go." Kana hesitated. "It is not that." She cursed inwardly. Why is he so presumptuous? Who wants to compete with him? From the beginning, there were 2 reasons for me to stay in this mansion. The first reason, I have to get permission to divorce from father. The second reason, I have to get the tools for alchemy. Other than those, I have no regrets about this place. If there is any regret, it is probably not being able to cause any more trouble. She wondered, why do you need permission from a guardian just to get a divorce? Divorce is like begging. This society is really bad. After taking a sip of tea, Kana said, "Actually, I have something to do right now, so let us talk about that later." Although sad, Lucy obediently smiled and said, "Yes, I understand." Kana thought to herself, I am clearly trying to hold back. I am sure she is used to being rejected, right? I'm sorry. I really have something urgent and important to do. However, since you are fully recovered, we will go anywhere together later, okay? Looking at the girl in front of him, Callan also pondered. She is like a different person. Callan thought about Kana's previous words and always had the same questions. First, does he still have negative feelings towards his sister? If this ends, Kana will leave. Is that what Kana meant? Didn't she leave Valentino and come back here? Kana confirmed, that is right. I will get a divorce no matter what. Then I will leave here and live alone. So please bear with it until then. After that, you won't see me again. The second question, does she only have negative feelings towards him? Callan did not know what to do. And the third question, what did he do to deserve her contempt? And the final question then, did she do anything to deserve his contempt? People have said it. There are those who exist as a sin. The disgusting infected, the dark devil. The seed of the black believer. The fool who is always happy even when being kicked. So the answer has already been decided. That is why I hate you. No way, Kana pondered. She was just unlucky to be born with black hair. No one has the right to criticize an inborn trait that cannot be chosen. It was not her fault, but I was the one who committed terrible acts. By adding prejudice to innocent people, now he knows it was wrong. However, he can't change the past just because he has realized it. 'Cause he realized it too late, just like before. Half-brother he ignored. Back in the present, Kana said, well then, I will be going. Lucy obediently said goodbye. Be careful. After Kana left, Callan felt strange. What do I want to do with her? Do I want to make amends? That is a thought without any deception. Even though I know I still care about her. Kana walked away, thinking, I wonder if the Duke is working at this hour. Alright, do not be afraid, let us go. The scene shifted to the Addis family mansion. In front of Duke Alexandro's office. Kana thought, it has been a while since I came back here, so I am pretty nervous. Must have been a month. But she still knocked on the door and asked, Father, may I come in? Alexandro's voice rang out, come in. Kana took a deep breath. To leave Addis, I need Father's permission for a divorce. It is okay, be brave. There is nowhere left to run. Just like that, she opened the door and went inside. It felt as if time had stopped. The emotionless scratching sound of the pen, the habit of wearing glasses while working. And that beautiful image too, it is all still as terrifying as before. Kana asked father, may I have a moment of your time? Alexandro said in a low voice, aren't I giving you time now? Kana cursed inwardly. Trying to make small talk with him is useless. She continued, I have something I want to say. After receiving his permission, she reassured herself once more. Calm down. I can't let that cold face affect me. She spoke up. Father, please allow me and Duke Valentino to divorce. Alexandro's hand finally stopped writing. He looked up and asked, divorce? Kana quickly explained, it is because of the Valentino family. Alexandro silently listened as she continued. You know Baroness Josephine Ellister, right? She is my mother-in-law. Whenever I had time, I had to visit her 4 times a day. One day I arrived even a little late, and I had to listen to sarcastic remarks and be whipped terribly with the justification of discipline. During the 7 years of this marriage, Father, even though I am a daughter of this Addis family, they all despise me. Sometimes they splashed water to wake me up like watering a plant. Sometimes I had to greet the new day with a stinging slap. Kana kept talking, realizing the more I speak of the memories I have kept hidden, the more my anger flares up. However, I have to suppress these momentary feelings of frustration. I can't expect any sympathy from this cold-blooded person in front of me. This is no longer an insult to Kana alone, but a disgrace to the entire Addis family. Let us see what you will do when you see the family disgraced like this, Father. She concluded, so it is clear that such actions are too disrespectful to the Addis family. Father, I can't live in such a terrible place. I have to divorce to be able to live. So please allow me to divorce. Kana expected, even at this point you still want to refuse. The next second Alexandro said, all right. And Kana froze instantly. Alexandro continued, I will have the butler prepare the necessary papers. Kana asked incredulously, so you are allowing me? She was bewildered. Did I hear that right? I thought he would tell me to just die there. Alexandro asked her, you do not want to anymore? Kana quickly replied, no, please let me get a divorce. Alexandro nodded. All right. At this point, Kana was extremely confused. So it is really okay, taking advantage of the Addis name is good, is not it? She smiled happily and said, thank you so much, Father. She was immersed in happiness. My wish came true. I can't believe I could overcome the most difficult obstacle so easily. But if I think about the child I hate getting divorced and coming back home, it would be very unpleasant. So she said, actually, I have always wanted to leave this empire. I want to live peacefully in a coastal village in Alden. Once the divorce is finalized, I will leave immediately without returning to the main house. I will never come back. So I will excuse myself. I apologize for interrupting your time. Suddenly Alexandro said, I have changed my mind. I won't allow you to divorce. What? Why did you suddenly change your mind in such a short time? Kana was dumbfounded. She could not even speak. Why so suddenly in such a short time? And very quickly Kana asked, why is that, Father? Alexandro replied, I do not think I have an obligation to explain to you. Kana asked, slightly irritated, but you changed your mind so suddenly. Alexandro said stubbornly, whether I change it or not is my business. Kana's face turned cold as she remembered. That is right. He does not need anyone's approval. He does not need to explain or justify anything to anyone. Isn't this the great Duke Addis? But I can't let. Even if I look like a dog right now, I still need his approval. She said, if you do not allow it, do you mean I have to live in that miserable situation at the Valentino family again? Is that what you mean? Alexandro said, no, there is no need to return to Valentino. Stay here until further notice. You cannot leave without my permission, including moving to another empire. The Alden Empire. Kana's eyes widened. That is when I realized my mistake. I should not have mentioned my own wish. This father's existence is to make this hateful child unhappy. I was so worried about getting a divorce, so much anticipation, so much disappointment. He wants to torture me by giving me hope and then destroying it. That is right, I forgot how much he hates me. Kana said, I understand. It should have been like this from the beginning. But please remember, Father. I am truly disappointed in my father. I hope you will make a different decision in the future, Father. The ticking of the clock became clear. Alexandro sat alone in his study. After saying those words, Kana left his room. Suddenly she heard someone call sister. It was Isabel. She held a letter in her hand. Kana sighed inwardly. How unlucky that I run into her again and again. Isabel walked up and asked, you just went to Father's study, did not you? Could it be? Kana asked coldly. Are you afraid I will tell Father about you poisoning Lucy? She chuckled inwardly. Look at her pale face. I heard she was scolded by Callan to the point of tears. So it is true. Kana continued coldly. You need to realize how wrong your actions were. Good luck. Isabel turned purple with anger. But suddenly she called out to Kana. Wait that. Take it. Isabel proudly showed it off. This is an invitation from the royal family. Do you know that the second princess's birthday is coming up? Even if you did, you were not planning on going, were you? It is not that I can't go, but rather that I cannot go, right? Because if I go, I will avoid everyone's eyes and hide behind a curtain. Do you understand what I am saying? Even if there is only an invitation, you would not be able to respond. This is the difference between you and me. Someone like you, who can't hold their head high in front of others, is fundamentally different from me. If you make a mistake, you will get in trouble. Even if I do something wrong, I am still Isabel, the beloved daughter of the Addis family. How can I be compared to a dirty, unlucky weirdo like you? So do not be arrogant. Kana sighed inwardly. Honestly, the people in this family have not changed a bit. It seems like they want to see my old obedient self. From now on, I won't live like that anymore, you bastards. Kana recalled her childhood. I was used to living in the basement, ignored by my family. It was a terrifying time in the basement. But it became my only refuge whenever I practiced alchemy. Alchemy is a field of talent. Extracting mana from magic stones is a study that requires innate ability. So, when I just looked at alchemy books and successfully imitated an experiment, it was amazing, and I hoped that maybe this time I would be praised by my father, right? But how did he react? He coldly ordered me, put it away. Don't show such things to others. If you keep talking about it, the laboratory will be closed. That was all. Not a warm concern, praise, or encouragement. My father saw my talent as something shameful and tried to hide it. Actually, it was an obvious outcome because he did not want me to be happy. It seems I have indulged in a comfortable life for too long. I could have achieved a successful life if I had focused, a life with people who acknowledged me. I got used to that. And I forgot how much this man hates me. I expected him to give a reasonable answer. That was the biggest failure of this plan. Thinking about this, Kana trembled with anger. She cursed loudly, that damn lunatic. Damn it, even if I chewed off Addis' head, I still would not feel satisfied, that unlucky bastard. The plan failed. Can't get a divorce. I can't leave the Addis family. Going back to being Li Juhua would be the best way, but I do not know how to do that. I do not intend to live in a corner like this. I knew it would not be easy. I have to re-examine the plan. The top priority now is to live separately after the divorce. My ultimate goal is the same as when I lived as Li Juhua, which is to open a hospital in my own name. Even though the location and appearance have changed, it is still the dream I have been striving for over a decade. I can't go back to Juhua's body anyway. So now I have to improve my life and go in the direction I want. The easiest way has been blocked, so I have to gather the things I can use. Just in time. Isabel's gift. The invitation to the second Princess Lillian's birthday party. It is a gathering place for high-ranking nobles. And I am also a noble, Duchess Valentino from the Addis family. Until now, this name has never been praised. The Duchess is not even treated like a mistress. The Duchess is considered filth by the servants. The ugly woman compared to her husband. This gloom must have contributed to that notoriety. Messy black hair that no one wants to touch, long bangs covering black eyes. That is the problem I have to solve to live a decent life. So, instead of hiding things that can't be changed, it is better to be proud of them. I am so looking forward to it. At that moment, Callan's voice suddenly rang out. May I come in? Kana startled and replied, come in. Callan entered and said, I heard that father did not accept your divorce. Kana wondered, is he here to object to my being here? She replied, if you want to kick me out, tell father because he is the one who wants me to stay here. Don't worry, I do not want to stay here any longer. Just pretend I am not here until I find a way to leave. Callan asked, so you will continue to stay here? Do you want to move the laboratory upstairs? Kana asked back, you are telling me to move up? Callan nodded. Don't stay in the basement like that anymore. Kana was secretly suspicious. What is he plotting again? I have experienced so much injustice. It is hard to trust this suspicious kindness. The so-called concern is not trustworthy. She remembered that time she worriedly asked, what happened to the laboratory? Callan coldly replied, no, I am here to warn you because we might run into each other. Possible, just stay in the basement and do not come up. I hate seeing you, and that is just a foreshadowing of greater bullying. I have been locked in here for 4 days. If a servant had not passed by and noticed me, I would have starved to death. But now he is telling me to move up. After thinking, Kana called out to Callan, if it is not important, do not come down to the basement anymore. The best way for us to live comfortably is not to see each other. Right, Callan wanted to add sister. Kana sneered and asked, sister, you do not usually call me that. Just call me as usual. Otherwise you can call me Duchess Valentino. Callan hesitated. You do not intend to talk to me now, do you? Then let me talk about something else. I am here to make a proposal to you. Kana asked, a proposal? What is it? Tell me. Callan realized. The conversation only continues when it hits her heart. He continued, I hope you can continue to take care of Lucy's health. Kana crossed her arms and asked, do you still not believe that she is fully recovered? Callan replied, no, besides that illness, Lucy is a frail child. Moreover, Lucy is the second daughter of a prostitute, so she grew up under the contemptuous gazes of family members. Perhaps that is why she always withdraws. Kana thought it must be so. He understands better than I thought. She asked directly, in short, what do you want? Callan said, make a medicine to improve Lucy's mental and physical health, and check her health once a day. Kana thought, that is fine. She replied, I can do it. So what about the price? Callan answered, as much as you want. I will give you the price you want. Callan declared, I will provide whatever you need. Kana held out her hand, then 2,000 gold a month. She thought, he must like doing things my way regardless of the price I ask for. So first I will just ask for the sky. Callan nodded without thinking, all right, 2,000 gold a month. And what else? Kana was slightly stunned. I repeat, it is gold, not silver. 2,000 gold per month. She did not understand what is going on. Did he eat something wrong? Callan calmly replied, 2,000 gold or silver makes no difference to me. If you want money, I will give it. Kana realized, for the Addis family that much is just a small matter, is not it? Callan asked again, do you have no other wishes? Kana replied, then just add a close maid with good ability and personality for me. Callan nodded, all right. Kana was surprised and wondered more. This generous treatment is a good thing. However, why go this far? Giving me everything I want just to ask me to take care of Lucy, is she that precious? Did he ever do this before? If he had done this before, I would not want to play around like this either. Kana suggested, escort me to Her Highness the Princess's birthday party. Kana thought, having to escort the hateful Kana, I thought it would be extremely humiliating for Callan. He agreed coldly, even writing a contract on the spot. Someone like Callan, I do not know what he is planning. Anyway, the maid has been brought in. This girl is Maid Leah Mirwin. Kana wondered, where on earth did he find this girl? She did not even frown when she saw me. I really like this point. But what about her ability? Leah asked, can I trim everything? Kana shook her head, no, just trim my bangs. There are 2 weeks left until the party. There are many things to prepare. I have asked Leah to help prepare many things. I wonder if it is working here. After finishing cutting, Leah froze. Kana complimented Leah, good job. Very beautiful and natural. Leah froze for a moment before coming back to her senses. I am sorry. I was a little surprised. Kana chuckled, look at your reaction. I am looking forward to the party even more. Time passed, and today was the second princess birthday party. Orsini asked incredulously, what, you are escorting that trash? Are you out of your mind, Callan? Why are you doing such humiliating things? Isabel was slightly angry, I already said that, but she still insisted on going. Orsini continued suspiciously, does she have something on you? Your reputation could be ruined. Callan shook his head, no. Orsini was even more suspicious, if not, then I can't understand it at all. You have to escort such trash. If it were me, absolutely. No, just thinking about it makes me sick. Isabel said, I do not want to go with Sister Kana. Orsini nodded, me neither, Callan. If you want, we can go separately. Callan said indifferently, just do what you want. I will go with Sister. Orsini, seeing that he could not persuade his younger brother, could only turn away and call Isabel, all right, let us go. Talking more will only hurt our mouths. Isabel hurriedly followed, I know. At this time, only Callan was left waiting on the chair. He thought 2 weeks. For the past 2 weeks, she has been staying inside the house. Although she still regularly treats Lucy according to our previous agreement, I have not been able to see her even once because she only moves during training or work hours. I have seen the maid constantly busy, but I can't ask anything. If I am caught secretly investigating her behind her back, she might become even colder. Could it be that she is deliberately avoiding me? Thinking of this, Callan laughed, so what? Her avoiding me is not a big deal. But why do I care so much? It started from my guilt, but why do I feel something empty, as if, why is she looking at me like that? As if she is demanding more than forgiveness. I hate it the most when I can't control my suspicious thoughts. It seems like she does not expect anything from me. Then I do not need to delve any deeper. These rambling thoughts will disappear after this escort. Just as he was thinking, someone called his name. Callan, have you been waiting long? The person in front of him surprised him greatly. It was none other than his sister-in-law, Canna. Canna Addis, Duchess Valentino. Canna stepped forward and asked, so how is it, which made Callan slightly flustered. She smiled, moving closer to Callan. I mean the scent coming from me. Seeing Canna at such close proximity left him momentarily speechless. Trying to regain his composure, Callan corrected Canna's meaning. No, not that, the fragrance. Canna thought to herself, thank goodness. It really is quite suitable for the people here. She covered her mouth, laughing. Anyway, the perfume is working and there are no problems. She turned to Callan. Oh, escort me. Callan, embarrassed, started to address her formally, but immediately corrected himself. Yes, Canna. At that moment in a certain castle, Isabel was talking to someone. Sister Canna will be here. Brother Callan will personally escort her. She was quite worried about it but tried to avoid offending the person in front of her. I am worried she will bother you, but have not you been quite curious about her lately? This is good, is not it? Her Majesty, the one talking to Isabel, was the second queen of the Aslan Empire. Her name was Lillian. Lillian thought that Canna, is not she the woman Sylvian used to avoid marrying me? She had tried to see Canna's face once, but could not. Sylvian and Canna were a couple in name only. They had not even had a wedding ceremony, so she had no chance to meet her. Very few other nobles had seen Canna either. But now she suddenly appeared like this. The number of parties she attended could be counted on one hand, and even when she did attend, she only stayed in a corner of the garden. Even her family members pretended not to know or care about her. In Lillian's mind, Canna was a woman who was always afraid and avoided the gaze of others. Pitiful, pathetic, and also despicable. Suddenly, a voice echoed, drawing Isabel and Lillian's attention. Duchess Canna Valentino entering. Downstairs, upon hearing the name, everyone was bewildered. Canna, did I hear wrong? Is it really Duchess Valentino? The woman with black hair and eyes. The person next to her must be Callan. No way, Canna usually does not attend parties because she is supposed to be ugly. Then who is that beauty? Canna was quite satisfied with the expressions of those around her. Upstairs, Isabel and Lillian had been watching her since earlier. Lillian could not understand what was happening. That is the woman who stole Sylvian from me. Canna had anticipated this situation. The eyes of the men lit up when they saw her. But there was one thing Canna had not foreseen. Callan was still by her side even though his escort duty had been completed 30 minutes ago. She was afraid her plan would be hindered, so she forced a smile and said, "It is over now, so you can go." But Callan stayed put and said, "No, not yet." After looking around he said, "All right." Canna was puzzled. Not yet and all right. What is he thinking? But anyway, it was fortunate that she had successfully attracted everyone's attention. Lillian's gaze was still fixed on Canna from behind. Canna could feel that gaze, as if it wanted to pierce through her back. Lillian was the woman who wanted Sylvian, so she had to approach Lillian for her plan. But first she had to get Callan away. An excited voice came from afar. "Callan, what are you doing here?" "Oh, who is this beautiful lady beside you?" Canna politely introduced herself. He responded warmly, "I suspected it. It really is Callan's sister. I am Colin." Canna smiled brightly at him, but she knew he was putting on an act. There was no way he did not know she was Canna. It was funny how she had become better in their eyes without changing at all. She knew what he was thinking. I can't believe the one they said had disgusting black hair is such a beauty. He introduced himself as Callan's close friend and took Canna's hand, intending to kiss it. Seeing this, Callan grabbed his hand and pulled it away. He explained in pain it was just a greeting. Callan was annoyed. "Where's your fiancé? Why are you here alone? Let me escort you to your fiancé." Callan dragged him away. Canna was perplexed. "Why be so sensitive? I can go alone." Callan suddenly turned back and said, "Stay here." Canna hoped Callan would not come back so she could carry out her plan. Canna turned around. Lillian was coming towards her. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath to calm herself. A voice announced, "Her Majesty has arrived." Canna greeted her with a bright smile. "It is an honor to meet you." She calculated in her mind, "Lillian, you must be on my side." The first step is called colleague. It was a publicly known fact that Lillian had chosen Sylvian as her groom. Sylvian had difficulty refusing the princess, so he chose to marry Canna. The princess had her husband stolen by Canna at that moment. Canna had not shown her face while in the position of legal wife, and had not even encountered Lillian. So it was clear that the princess was dying of curiosity. Canna stepped forward to greet her. Lillian said, "Am I mistaken?" I have had the feeling that Madam has been calling for me. Why pretend like that? If I were a man, I would definitely think you were seducing me. It is that obvious. Kana had not expected the princess to be so straightforward. She said, actually, I have really wanted to meet your highness. Lillian smiled on the surface, but inwardly disliked the person in front of her. Kana had rudely stolen what she wanted. Her eyes stared deeply into Kana's. Let me give you some advice first. I do not like beating around the bush. So if you have something to say, just say it. Kana purposely put on a sad face. I am being deceived and mistreated by my husband. I believe you already know that. Kana was sure Lillian knew everything. She knew that the relationship between the Duke and Duchess Valentino was very distant. The Duke is also someone who never changes. The princess must know that, right? Lillian smiled gently when mentioning Sylvian. Isn't his unwillingness to change part of his charm? Kana could not understand how she could call that scumbag-like personality charming. Kana continued, let me be honest with you. I am tired of his coldness. I am exhausted, your highness. I no longer have the confidence to continue this marriage. Lillian seemed pleased. Is that so? Her eyes lit up when she heard Kana say she had returned to the Addis family. Kana intentionally added this to make Lillian interested in her story. But divorcing a noblewoman is not easy. After all, it is related to the family's honor. It is natural that my father would not allow a divorce. However, suppose there was a situation where the marriage could not be maintained. The story would be different, would not it? Kana pondered, if Sylvian has an affair. Or if the queen keeps pressuring Alexandro. Either way, become my partner. Lillian seemed to believe Kana's words. The plan was going Kana's way. Suddenly, footsteps approached them from afar. The person spoke, Your Highness, what are you talking about? It was Josephine, Kana's wicked mother-in-law. Lillian repeated what she had just heard from Kana. Kana has moved back to her family home. Josephine smiled sinisterly and began to make things up about Kana. Yes, that is right. I kicked her out because I could not stand it any longer. Lillian glared angrily at Kana. What do you mean you said you left on your own? Josephine continued, seeing that she has not returned. I think she is trying a new way to get Sylvian's attention. Your Highness does not need to bother with her. Lillian clenched her dress in anger. Why did I listen to that girl as if I were bewitched, from the beginning, that Kana could not have wanted a divorce? Lillian recalled the maid's story. The Duchess Valentino clung to the Duke's legs. It seems the story has spread widely among the servants. I heard she cried pathetically in the hallway. Thinking about it, Kana's intention was too obvious. A new method, a new trick by using her to attract attention. She dared to play me. Lillian's anger was now evident. You are very bold, Duchess Valentino. Do I look that amusing to you? Seeing things going south, Kana quickly explained, You misunderstood, Your Highness. Lillian did not listen and directly threw her wine at Kana. Kana was slightly startled by this situation. Even Josephine was surprised. Kana's dress was stained red with wine. Lillian grimaced at Kana, deliberately saying that spilling the wine was just a small mistake on her part. In response to her action, Kana smiled and said, It seems Your Highness has made a mistake. It appears you slipped. Josephine stood speechless at Kana's words. Lillian turned and took the wine glass from Josephine's hand. She was about to throw the wine at Kana again. Suddenly, a loud voice shouted from afar, Why are you causing such a commotion? Kana and Lillian looked over in surprise. It was Her Majesty the Empress. Kana looked at Lillian's frightened face. She thought, the Empress probably witnessed what just happened, which is why the princess is trying to hide the wine glass behind her back. Kana could use this to her advantage. She started to pretend to cry. I apologize. Because of my incompetence, this problem has occurred. Lillian and Josephine were completely caught off guard by Kana's actions. Josephine started shouting, Stop those crocodile tears. How dare you put on such a show? Seeing this, the Empress reprimanded her. Duchess Josephine, lower your voice. The Empress extended her hand and embraced Kana. All right, stop crying. You must have gone through terrible things in this situation. Kana did not expect the Empress to care about her. Please accept my apologies. I won't do anything to displease Your Majesty. Lillian angrily called Kana's name. But the Empress turned and rebuked her. I am so disappointed in you, Princess Lillian. Aren't you ashamed of yourself as a princess? You should try to be even half as gentle and warm as your sister, the Grand Duchess. When will you stop being so hurtful and thoughtless? Lillian bowed her head and admitted her fault. She knew that as the daughter of a concubine, she could never control herself in situations like this. But even so, Could not you give me some face in such a public place? She should have been more cautious, knowing the Empress was here. If only she had not been distracted by Kana. Suddenly, a hand touched Lillian. What happened here, Your Majesty? Did Lillian cause trouble again? Kana almost forgot about this person. It was the main character of the sensational novel praised throughout the Western continent, a woman of low birth who rose to become the king's concubine. Her name was Teresa. Teresa hurriedly apologized. I will certainly discipline my child. I apologize for this, Your Majesty. The Empress turned away. Then I will trust your words. Now Duchess Valentino, come with me. I will treat you to a cup of hot tea. Kana rejoiced inwardly. Thanks to the Empress, she could escape that situation. But why is she being so thoughtful to me? I feel like she has ulterior motives. The Empress led Kana into a room. Kana recalled her conversation with Leah. It has been so long since I have touched herbs like these. I remember there were many doctors who prepared herbal remedies in the capital. Leah said, there has been a significant decline in herb growers and sellers. The Empress drove them all out of the capital. She said they were quacks who could not cure the Grand Duchess. There was a girl sitting in the room. The Empress introduced her. This is my daughter, the first princess of the empire, Grand Duchess Amelia. Kana bowed to the princess. She now understood why the Empress had brought her here. This princess must have had a reason to wear a veil at the party, such as suffering from a long-term skin disease. The Empress went straight to the point. I heard that you can cure the youngest daughter of the Addis family. There are rumors that you used a rather unusual treatment method. Is that true? Kana was surprised. How did the Empress know that? She had sworn the young duke to secrecy. Seeing Kana's expression, the Empress said, feel free to speak. Duchess Chloe told me about it. Kana could not believe it. There is no way that woman would be so kind as to recommend her. A chilling hypothesis immediately formed in Kana's mind. The Duchess prompted the Empress to summon me. If I can't cure the princess or refuse to do so, I will be expelled from the capital. If I make a mistake, she will declare me a fraud and accuse me. She could even involve Lucy in this. Kana answered honestly, yes, it is true. Cured Lucy. The Empress was satisfied with Kana's answer. Very good. She asked the princess to remove her veil. The princess seemed afraid and refused to remove it, even after the Empress asked again. The Empress shouted angrily, Princess Amelia. Amelia ripped off her mask. She raged, here, I took it off, are you satisfied now? Black and red spots covered almost all of Amelia's face. This must be the incurable disease Kana had heard about in the rumors. This case was quite familiar, with mold appearing all over the body. The Empress sighed. Countless doctors and healers have tried to treat her, but the results have been almost non-existent. Sometimes her condition seems to improve a little, but then it relapses. No one has been able to make a significant improvement. She hoped Kana could try to cure her daughter. Kana asked permission to examine the princess to get an overview of the symptoms. At this point, the princess suddenly became agitated and shouted, I did it, I took off the mask. Isn't that enough for you? The Empress asked Amelia to take off all her clothes. Kana was surprised by the Empress's request. Amelia felt this was too much. She gritted her teeth. How dare mother ask me to do that? How can you expect me to undress here like a fool? We are in one of the rooms at the banquet. Or do you want me to go outside and show everyone out there what I look like? Is that it? The Empress explained to the princess with a headache. The disease has spread almost all over your body, so Kana needs to examine it thoroughly to treat it properly. The princess continued to argue with her mother. I do not want to, I won't do it. I won't let the Duchess see my body here. At first, Kana did not understand why the princess was so angry with her. However, she could understand why the princess was acting like this. Back when she was a doctor in Juwa's body, she understood how sensitive patients could be. And it was also a challenge for those who had to go through it with the patients. The Empress pleaded with Kana to treat the princess's skin disease. She lamented, do you know how many years have passed like this? This horrible disease has not gotten any better. Others have started to rumor that I gave birth to a rotting body. These wishes of the Empress made her stop treating her like her daughter. Amelia said painfully, yes, I am sorry for becoming the reason for others to say such things. It would be better for mother if I died and disappeared from your life, right? The Empress was exasperated by the princess's words. The princess continued, why do you call me a rotting body? Why do not you tell the truth? That you want me dead, that you won't have to hear others say that you gave birth to a rotting body. I won't tarnish the name of the Empress's precious daughter anymore. So just say it straight that you wish I were dead. The Empress angrily told the princess to be careful with her words. Seeing that the situation seemed to be getting out of hand, Kana spoke up. Your Majesty, unfortunately, I did not bring any necessary treatment tools with me at this time, and this is not a suitable place to examine the princess. I will come to the palace on my next visit to check on the princess. I think this is the best course of action. After saying that, Kana stood up and excused herself. I will see you next time, Your Majesty, and you too, Princess. Kana stepped out of the stuffy room. She felt tired from watching other people argue like that. They would probably continue arguing after she left. She wondered how many times they had argued before. She was sure they had a lot on their minds now. They must have felt drained and disappointed after breaking down so many times. Looking back at the room, it seemed like Kana had just heard crying. She walked out to the balcony with a headache. Too many things had happened in such a short time. She had probably failed to form an alliance with the second princess. But now Kana had a new card to play in the future. Considering everything that had happened, this was a success, although the moment she walked down the stairs, everyone's eyes were on her. She was not sure if those looks were of contempt or not, as no eyes tried to approach her. Kana smiled, thinking it meant they must all be curious about her. Lost in thought, someone was walking up from behind her. Kana was surprised. It was Orsini. Why did not he check if anyone else was here first? Kana had not seen him in the banquet hall, and she secretly wished he would not come near. Contrary to Kana's wishes, Orsini came and stood next to her. Forgive me, I did not know anyone else was here. I did not expect such a beautiful lady to be here. Kana was taken aback by the gentle voice. She covered her mouth to avoid laughing. Is he crazy? What the hell is he saying? Don't tell me this guy does not recognize me. It is a beautiful night, is not it? Orsini said to Kana with a smile. Is it because I am with such a beautiful lady, that is why tonight is so unusually beautiful? Kana was slightly shocked by his words. Did he mistake her hair and eye color for a different one because it was dark? Did he think she was a completely different person? She calculated if she played it right she could prank him. I think I can act a bit more and change my tone to fool him. Kana deliberately changed her voice. You flatter me. Orsini was easily fooled. He flattered Kana. Not at all. I wonder why I have only just met someone like you. Kana said, I do not really like parties and do not attend them often, so it is understandable that many people do not know me. However, I attended today, but it does not seem to suit me. To please the beauty, Orsini said that he also hated parties, but Kana knew those were lies. He offered to escort her for a walk in the garden. Seeing Orsini's excited expression, Kana thought to herself, enjoy that excitement while you still can. Despair will come the day after you learn the truth. Kana did not know that someone was watching her from behind. That person spoke up and asked, is your wife strolling in the garden with another man, Duke Valentino? Sylvian, hearing this, asked if he was mistaken. He confirmed he was not. That is the dress the Duchess was wearing. I remember it vividly, a truly unforgettable appearance. The young man standing next to Sylvian was Argon, the crown prince of the Aslan Empire. Argon observed Kana and Orsini walking into the garden. Argon wondered, don't tell me you are unaware of her beauty. Sylvian recalled the scene in his room. Duke, we are husband and wife, so marital duties, should not we fulfill them? Sylvian's face showed disgust. Get out before I call the servants to drag you out. Argon continued talking about his question. How can you ignore such beauty until now? Isn't that what men like? I do not know who he is, but that man took her into the garden. I think something fishy is going on. Are you just going to let it be? She is your wife. In the garden, Orsini was talking to Kana about his plans. If I get married in the future, I will probably become a family man. Other noblemen often take multiple wives, but not me, one is enough. Kana played along with his story. Oh, I am sure your wife will be very happy. Turning to look at Orsini's expression, Kana could not believe her eyes. His face was flushed with embarrassment. Kana covered her mouth, afraid he would notice her laughing. Oh, this is crazy. He continued, I will definitely make her happy. I will pamper my future wife to no end. Kana felt uncomfortable with his boasting. A fool who only knows drinking and swordsmanship saying such words, it is hard to listen to. Suddenly Orsini stopped. He said apologetically, all those words just now were lies. I have never cared about anything like that before. Initially, I considered men who said flattering things to please women as fools. But now I am acting like those fools because it was love at first sight, only with you. Kana seemed surprised by his words. But then, she smiled as if she had achieved something. Congratulations on your self-destruction. For the rest of your life you will be tormented by this moment. Orsini only then remembered to ask her name. Suddenly, Kana covered her face and burst out laughing. Orsini was confused, wondering if he had done something wrong. Kana said, "Why am I laughing?" "Because it is funny. It is hilarious, do not you think?" At this moment, Orsini looked closely at her face. He could not believe it. "No way." Kana teased him, "I am sorry, but it would be very difficult for us to become a family. In this day and age, direct lineage marriages are not very common. Moreover, I am already a married woman." He went mad. "I will kill you." Kana challenged him. "What is wrong? Have you forgotten what happened not so long ago?" She reached out and touched Orsini's face. "Do what you want to do. There is nothing you can't do. Even though my eyelids are stinging and swollen, there is nowhere your hands have not touched. So act as usual. There is no reason for hesitation, right?" Orsini said, "So now you are planning to get revenge on me." He could not believe that what he was holding was Kana's hand, yet he had not realized it. Orsini asked Kana back. "So what? It seems like you have achieved what you wanted, have not you? How dare you humiliate me?" Kana continued to provoke him. "I am not sure. From my perspective it seems like a success, does not it?" Orsini flung her hand away, causing Kana to fall to the ground. "Don't get me wrong. Who cares about you?" he said angrily and walked away. Kana wondered. Is Orsini feeling embarrassed, or is it because he is drunk? That guy can't just let it go that easily. She lay tiredly on the grass. She had tried very hard to provoke him as usual, the purpose being to leave evidence. She could use it to tell Duke Alexandro that Orsini had used force against her, which might make the Duke reconsider letting her live outside alone. But things did not go as she planned. Why today there is no one here and there is no CCTV like in Korea? Remembering Orsini's flushed face, Kana laughed. "Good, I am satisfied with this, so let us go back." She stood up and brushed off the grass on her clothes. Looking to her left, Kana was startled. Sylvian was slowly walking towards her. Don't tell me he saw everything. Anyway, she did not care. She should not have run into him. Kana was about to turn away, when suddenly the person behind her spoke. "There is still some grass stuck there." Kana was taken aback that Sylvian had actually initiated a conversation with her. In Juwa's memory, Sylvian was someone who only gave answers. He had never once started a conversation in the past 7 years. But just now, he opened his mouth to mention the grass. Was he planning something? Kana fumbled to find where the grass was stuck. Seeing this, Sylvian stepped behind her. He helped her remove the grass stuck to her dress. Kana warily turned to look at him. She said, "Please tell me next time. I can do it myself." Sylvian was curious. "Wasn't that guy quite rude to leave you alone like that? Seems like the conversation just now was quite tense." Lady Kana has terrible taste in men. Kana paused for a moment. It seemed he misunderstood that she was having an ambiguous relationship. It seemed he did not know it was Orsini. She felt like she had hit the jackpot. Isn't this a stroke of luck? Until now, Sylvian had only acknowledged her as a wife in name. A living puppet who always remained silent. But what would happen if that puppet dared to have an affair? What would happen if the Valentino family spoke up for Sylvian to divorce her? From her experience, this was a good opportunity for him to find a new talking puppet. If Sylvian initiated the divorce, eventually, even Alexandra would have to accept it. Thinking of that, she provoked him. "Yes, during the past time I had a bad view of men, so I married you, Duke. In the end, will you accept what you just saw?" Sylvian placed his hand on Kana's hair. He slowly moved closer to her. Kana brushed his hand away. "There is nothing to worry about. Since when have you cared about my private life?" Sylvian said, "I do not really care where Lady Kana goes, but please pay more attention to the honor of the Valentino family. The lawn outside is very suitable for indecent acts like a filthy monster." Kana was angered by his words. Isn't that a common hobby among nobles? Although she had provoked him so he would feel humiliated and divorce her. What right did he have to say such things? He had not paid attention once while Juwa craved affection so much. On their wedding night she waited all night, but he did not show up. Even after Kana returned to this body, he did not realize that his wife was now a completely different person. He had never considered her an equal during this time. Kana's hands trembled slightly with anger. Absent on the wedding night until now for 7 long years. What hobbies does someone who lets his wife live alone have? Sylvian asked, "So that is why you are like this?" "Because I did not hold on to you." He laughed. Kana did not think he would have this expression. Sylvian continued, "Perhaps that past incident hurt you a lot." Kana remembered the night she had stripped naked and sneaked into his room. Yes, there was such a thing. But do not worry, I will absolutely not do that again. After that incident, I am sure the Duke is unable to have marital relations. Sylvian looked at her coldly. Kana continued to provoke him. I understand. You must be very tired because you have a lot of work to do. She implicitly said you probably do not have any strength in that area. It is a pity you are so young. Don't worry, I am discreet so I won't spread rumors. If I had known this before, I would not have foolishly gotten married. Sylvian calmly looked at her. So then, I wonder if I have the opportunity to clear up all of Lady Kana's doubts. Kana cursed inwardly, this damned bastard. She quickly explained, I no longer have feelings for the Duke. I want a divorce immediately. It is only delayed because my father has not agreed yet. That day is not far off. I will definitely get a divorce at all costs. Hearing this, Sylvian just chuckled. All right then, have a good evening. After saying that, he walked away. Kana glanced at him. Just wait and see. I will prove it is true. The next day at the Addis mansion, Kana heard that Orsini was practicing swordsmanship. Leah said he left before sunrise today. I heard there are trainees going for training too. He seems to want to start from the basics. Kana wondered, Orsini was already one of the best knights in the empire. How could that arrogant bastard do that? Or is he ashamed to see her face? The mansion will be a bit more comfortable for a while. Suddenly a servant called her. Duchess, there is a guest looking for you. Kana's mood became cheerful after hearing Orsini's news. Who is it? Stepping outside, Kana could not believe it. The guest saw her and said, finally I get to meet you. I have been waiting for a long time. But it is okay, it is worth waiting a bit for a beauty. The guest was Argon, the crown prince of the Aslan Empire. Kana was puzzled. Why was the prince looking for her? She was not close to him at all. He walked over and took her hand. Up close like this, she was even more beautiful. Kana was a little flustered. It is an honor to meet His Highness. He continued to compliment her. His voice was pleasant, and even his scent was alluring. I came here today to pick you up at the request of the Empress. Argon looked excited. Take your time. It is my honor to wait for such a beautiful lady. The two left the Addis villa and prepared to depart. Kana could not help but wonder, there are no escorts, is he, a royal, really traveling alone like this? Seeing Kana's luggage, he asked, what is in that box? Kana did not want to beat around the bush with him. She replied, it is nothing special. He said, I understand, and took out a book to read, not asking anything more about her luggage. Argon was Princess Lillian's older brother. Kana had thought his personality would be as terrible as his sister's, but it seemed she was wrong. In terms of appearance, he resembled Teresa more than Lillian. The ride was more comfortable than she had expected. Lost in thought, she suddenly realized something. But why did Teresa's son come to pick me up? Entrusting the princess's treatment was a sensitive matter. Why would the Empress send the son of her concubine, whom she considered a thorn in her side, to pick her up? The Empress's own son was still alive and well. So why did not she call him? Prince spoke up. I am curious about something. May I ask? I heard that Lillian bothered you. I heard you cried. Kana was puzzled as to why he suddenly asked such a question. She replied, yes, that is right. He said, it is a shame. I was on the rooftop the whole time so I did not see it. I also wanted to see what you looked like when you cried. I'm sure I will have a chance later though. Argon lowered his head and continued reading, and the atmosphere became quiet again. Kana had heard rumors that he had a very erratic personality. Although not dangerous, he was not normal either. The carriage suddenly hit something. Kana lost her balance. Fell. He caught her hand. Kana fell into Argon's arms. He gently asked, are you all right? Kana quickly stood up. I'm fine. The driver rushed over in a panic to check on the situation. I apologize, are you not hurt, Your Highness? Seems there is a problem with the carriage wheel. I sincerely apologize. Could you please step outside for a moment? He stepped outside first. The ground below was all mud. He offered to help her out so she would not get her shoes dirty. But Kana quickly stepped down. She said, thank you for your kindness, but I am fine. He asked why she kept refusing his kindness. Kana said it was because she did not want to bother him, and she could handle it herself. His expression suddenly changed. He drew his sword and slashed at the driver. Kana was stunned by this action. He asked, can you guess what I will do next? What will you do now? He cut her arm with the sword. He did not put the sword away, but asked her, can you handle this alone? Do you need my help now? Kana had not anticipated this madness. Because she refused his kindness, he was threatening her by killing someone. Right in front of her was a madman. What should she do? Although she had various self-defense medicines in her luggage, now was not the time to risk taking them out. Left with no other choice, Kana gave in to him. He said, "I need your help. My dress is all dirty." He stopped what he was doing. He whistled to summon someone. People in black cloaks suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Argon ordered, "Hurry up and fix the carriage. I have killed the driver, so do not speak of this." Only then did Kana realize that it was not that he did not have guards, they were just hidden. If she had used the medicine to defend herself earlier, she would have been killed by them. He returned to his gentle demeanor from before and told her to get back in the carriage. Kana did not dare refuse his kindness now, offering her hand for him to help her into the carriage. She was still frightened by his previous actions. Just to get her to accept his kindness. He had killed someone. He really was a madman. Long time passed. When they arrived at the princess's palace, Argon left as if nothing had happened. Seeing the wound on Kana's arm, the empress offered to call a doctor, but she refused. It was only a minor injury, so she could treat it herself. Although surprised to see the wound, the empress only said she would reprimand Argon later. The empress led her to the grand princess's room. Kana thought to herself, "At least I managed to survive that incident. Right now, the princess's treatment is the most important thing." She carefully observed the princess's condition. Red eczema had spread all over her body. It was circular and slightly red, and there was also yellow discharge. She guessed it was nummular eczema, a type of eczema characterized by its round, coin-like shape. She asked the princess how she had been treated so far and if she had taken any medicine. But the empress answered for the princess. No medicine taken, but the princess has applied ointment. Applying this on her body reduces the itching. The empress called for someone to bring the medicine for Kana to see. Kana was a little surprised. It was a grayish-black ointment. The empress continued, "Many doctors have come and they all gave the same advice. That is to wash the body with warm water mixed with medicinal herbs 3 times a day, and then apply this prescribed ointment to the affected areas." Kana's face darkened. They had prescribed the princess mercury ointment. Kana recalled from her university days, in Juwa's body, mercury was a liquid metal at room temperature. It was effective as a disinfectant and in the past, it had been used to treat syphilis and skin diseases in the West. In the East, Qin Shi Huang had sought it as an elixir of immortality. However, mercury harbored deadly toxicity, and it had caused many people to suffer from mercury poisoning. Kana remembered this information clearly because it was a presentation she gave for a group project, but she did not think it would be used as medicine here. Kana asked how long the princess had been using this medicine. The empress replied, "Not long, only about 2 weeks." Kana was relieved that it had only been 2 weeks. Fortunately, if she stopped now, she would not be poisoned. She said that the princess should not use this medicine anymore. The empress wondered, if she does not use it, the princess's itching will get worse. Hearing this, Kana guessed that the mercury ointment probably had other ingredients added, but mercury was still mercury. She said the princess should not use it. The princess needs to reduce the number of baths she takes. Even if it feels uncomfortable, she should only bathe once a day. When washing, try to avoid contact with the affected areas as much as possible. Hearing this, the princess got angry. "Not use the medicine, I might die from the itching. Why reduce the number of baths? Do you want me to let my body be soaked with sweat and discharge from the wounds? Are you joking with me?" The princess turned to the empress. "You invited a wonderful doctor. She is just deceiving us. I won't accept her treatment." Kana calmly explained, "If you do not stop using that medicine, the illness won't be cured." The princess rebuked Kana. "How dare you speak to me like that?" Kana continued, "Cleanliness is important, but bathing 3 times a day is excessive. Excessive bathing and washing will dry out the skin, and dry skin will make the condition worse. Also, that medicine is mercury-based. Even if it helps reduce itching, however." Kana intended to explain further about the toxicity of mercury, but she thought better of it. Mercury was trusted and used by everyone here, so if she explained its toxicity, no one would believe her, and she might even be criticized. She should persuade them another way. Kana said, "This ointment is strong, so it will weaken the skin." The princess argued back, "Are you saying the doctor prescribed the wrong medicine, even if it was the royal advisor?" Kana tried to assert, "They are all the same because they could not cure you, princess. I heard that your skin condition has been going on for a while. That means all the treatments so far have not been suitable for you. What you can do now is be patient." The princess became even angrier. Patient, don't say it so easily. If I could endure it, why would I need this medicine? My whole body itches like crazy. I feel like I am being burned alive. If you were me, could you still say that? Understanding the princess's feelings, what Patience needed was not logic, but trust in the person treating them. Kana said, if you want to recover, even if you have to grit your teeth, you have to endure it. I will make a medicine to help you. Use it and you will feel better. You also have to change your clothes to cotton material. The princess was displeased. Are you asking me to become a commoner? Since the royal family always used expensive silk materials, it would be difficult to persuade her, but Kana remained firm. Since the wounds have spread all over your body, you have to wear breathable clothes, so cotton is better than silk. The princess shouted. And she ordered the servants. Go find me cotton clothes right now. She turned to Kana and asked, anything else? What else do I have to do? Tell me quickly. Kana was surprised by the princess's sudden change in attitude. She said, if possible, you should also change the material of your bedsheets. It would be better to put several layers of cotton blankets in. The princess asked the servants to write down everything Kana instructed, not missing a single thing. Kana looked at the princess. She could not believe the princess changed so suddenly. She must have been in a lot of pain. In this era, Kana's words sounded absurd, but the princess clung to them desperately. The empress asked Kana, is that all? No medicine needed, Kana replied. I wonder if you could help me obtain some herbs from the eastern continent. The empress, relieved, said, as I have deep connections with merchants, I can find anything from the east. If there is anything that can help Amelia recover, I will do whatever it takes. Kana sighed in relief. It was good that the empress was cooperative. She was glad that the first treatment went smoothly. Kana set off to return to the Addis villa. Kana was tired. She did not know why her body felt this way. The wound on her arm made her face pale with pain. It was not a deep wound either. Maybe because she was not tense anymore, she felt the pain more clearly. Kana staggered back to her room. Suddenly she saw someone's figure. It was Duke Alexandro. The sword he carried resembled the prince's. He turned away, about to run, but the Duke called her back. His eyes were deep as. He looked at the wound on Kana's arm. The Duke lifted her chin. Something happened. Kana laughed. It is nothing special, so please let go of my hand. She thought, even if I told him, would he listen? I am Duchess Valentino, the daughter of the Addis family, but still no one helps me. As Orsini had said, she should not delude herself into thinking anyone cared about her. Even if she spoke up, it would not change anything, so it did not matter anymore. She could live well on her own, just like she always had. She said, really, nothing happened. I am tired today, so I just want to go back to my room and rest. Suddenly, the Duke grabbed the hand covering her wound and pulled it away. The Duke seemed to lose his patience and asked her again. He asked what happened. Kana was annoyed by this questioning. He said, are you going to find out who did this and reward them? Do you find joy in scolding me on behalf of the Duke, calling me a thorn in his side? Are you going to reward me for saying it is wonderful? If not, please leave. Kana turned and left. Now what? This world. This father. This brother, this family, they were not her family. A family scene appeared, with her mother who always worried about her. Her father who always did the best for his daughter. And her brother who seemed indifferent on the outside. But despite his teasing, cared deeply for her. Kana reached out to touch her brother's face. But when she opened her eyes, the person she saw was Callan. He asked if she was awake. At that moment, Kana realized the previous scene was just a dream. She covered her eyes, saddened. She asked why he was in her room. Callan explained, because you fainted in front of me, I carried you to your room. He had asked the maids to change her clothes and apply new bandages. Kana thought she had gone into shock after seeing someone die in front of her, and she had almost died too, so that is why she felt so tired now. Her heart was still racing when she thought back to that moment. This was the first time she had witnessed someone being murdered so horribly. She reminded herself not to overthink things as there was still much to do. Kana sat up and tried to get out of bed. Callan told her to rest more. He asked what happened to the wound on her arm. Kana walked away coldly. It is best not to mind it. You do not need to know. Suddenly, Callan grabbed the blanket she was wearing and pulled her back. We are talking. I have a few things to say and I need to hear some things too. Kana shook his hand off. I have nothing to say to you. Kana said she needed to go to the laboratory to work. Callan continued to ask, aren't you going to tell me how you got hurt? I think you should rest today. Looking so pale you might faint again. He called out, sister. Kana was angry. I told you not to call me that. Who are you to call me that? Why are you interfering in my affairs? You are nothing to me. We are nothing to each other, so do not act like we have a deep connection. Callan was saddened. He tried to explain to Kanna. But Kanna said, don't make that face. Those words are nothing compared to what you did to me. Do you think I am that easy? Callan explained that he now regretted the past and wanted to mend their relationship. Kanna found his words ridiculous. What are you talking about? You always do as you please. When you hate me I have to know my place, but when you do not hate me anymore you treat me kindly. Me. Callan told her not to be like that. We will still have to see each other in the future. No matter what happened in the past, it can't change the fact that we are sisters. Just now, while you were delirious, you still remembered me, did not you? Didn't you look at me and call me your brother? I guess somewhere in your heart you still yearn to rely on your family. Kanna did not remember doing that. He smiled seductively. Rely on me. You only have me. Callan confidently told Kanna to rely on him. Because besides him, she has no one to rely on. She can't count on Mr. Orsini, Isabel, or her mother. Not even her father. Last night, her father watched her faint. That night, Duke Alexandro stood there still, like a collapsing ice castle. The Duke called Callan's name. He spoke as if he was about to give an order, but in the end, he just turned around and left. That is why Callan took Kanna back to her room himself. He helped her bandage her wounds and called a servant to change her clothes. Kanna scoffed. The brother I am looking for is not you. It is arrogant of him to call himself her brother. Callan wondered if it was not him. Then who was it? Isabel Orsini. Kanna irritably explained that during her 7 years away from the Addis family, she had a brother. He is the same age as Callan. So, the person she is looking for is not him. Callan seemed angry. Who is that brat? Kanna was annoyed that he dared to call her brother a brat. He loudly reproached, just calling him a brat makes you feel this bad. Kanna pushed him away. Callan, while I am still being nice, leave. Callan was resentful. If that is what you want, I will leave. I won't care anymore. Do whatever you want. She remained silent. She went into her laboratory. He said he wanted to build a good relationship. How ridiculous. Words like that should have been said before she made this drug. At the age of 14, she made it so she could die. It is a drug that stops the heart. A 14-year-old did not hesitate to take this drug. Kanna was determined to stop thinking about it. She does not have the free time to wander in her thoughts. Because she received an important request. Yesterday, after finishing the princess's treatment, the empress personally escorted her to the carriage. She explained that the illness made the princess more irritable, but as a child, the princess was a very obedient and well-behaved child. The empress said she would only trust Kanna. She complimented Kanna on her always fragrant scent. The empress asked what kind of perfume she used. It was a scent she had never smelled before. Kanna explained that it was a perfume she had painstakingly searched for on the market and offered to give the empress a bottle later. This is the perfume Kanna used to sell online, a scent recreated using Eastern continent plants. She had been diligently preparing for 2 weeks to distribute it at the party. She thought it had failed due to Lillian's disruption, but she did not expect her first customer to be the empress. Kanna focused and started her work. At that moment in a certain mansion, Argon boasted to Duke Sylvian about meeting Kanna. He rambled on about her beauty. She is truly a beauty. I am smitten. Has the Duke never been like this? Isn't the Duke's true preference men? Sylvian did not seem very interested. Argon continued to recount how Kanna had fallen into his arms with a frightened look. He said he drew his sword. Hearing this, Sylvian stopped writing. He looked up and asked, was she killed? Argon laughed and replied, yeah. Sylvian gave him an icy stare. Then, Argon chuckled and said that the person he killed was a spy disguised as a coachman, not the Duchess. Hearing this, Sylvian continued his work. He simply said, all right then, much to Argon's confusion. Since she did not die, finding a new wife probably won't happen, huh? Argon tried to hint about his sword being made of magic stone. Even a slight graze would cause a lot of bleeding, enough to make someone faint at least once, to pique Sylvian's curiosity. Seeing that Sylvian was still unmoved, he said, Kanna might get caught up in something troublesome. Sylvian said coldly, I do not care, and this is not something your highness should interfere in. Please stop paying attention to Valentino. Argon laughed. How cold. If I had such a beauty, I would always keep her by my side. Back to Kanna. All the unpleasant things she encountered had passed. She cursed inwardly. This family is so troublesome. She had finished packing her luggage. The monsters in the black fog appeared again. Because Duke Alexandro, Callan, and even Sylvian are of knightly lineage. They all joined the expedition. Itchy, so itchy. A loud scream followed by the sound of a vase crashing to the floor. It was Princess Amelia's voice. Today is the princess's 5th treatment session. A vase breaks every time they meet, so this is the 5th one. The princess hugged herself in pain. When will the medicine be ready? My skin feels like it is burning. I would rather die than live like this. Despite her discomfort, the princess vividly remembered Kanna's instructions. She stopped using mercury, wore clothes made of fabrics only commoners would wear, and did not scratch her wounds. That strong will is the desire to be cured. Kanna said cheerfully, I apologize for taking up your time. I brought a new medicine to replace the mercury. The name of this ointment is jongo, a herb written about in the Dongguei Bogum, widely used from the Joseon dynasty to the present. This is a popular product at the online shopping mall that Kanna used to run in South Korea. It is an ointment she has made many times, so it was completed quickly. It took so long because she was waiting for the empress to prepare the ingredients. She applied the medicine and told the princess to apply it regularly and in the same way she was doing. The princess said, I heard the empress delivered the medicine to madam yesterday. I thought it would take a few more days, but I did not expect it to be so fast. Kanna smiled, it is thanks to you following my instructions. The princess thought sadly, you must have been very tired of putting up with me. So I also want to get better quickly. Kanna could not help but wonder. The empress said she has good relationships with merchants, so why did she send the ingredients so late? If she would send them earlier, the itching would have been cured already. If she were in South Korea, she could get them from her shopping mall's warehouse, as it is a best-selling product always in stock. She wondered if her shopping mall was being managed well, and how Juwa was doing. She must be happy with her loving family, unlike her own. The princess felt better after applying the medicine. She said happily, it still itches but I can bear it. Kanna instructed, take the medicine 3 times a day. Finish it and do not leave any behind. She bid the princess farewell and said she would return tomorrow. Suddenly, the princess called her back. I apologized to madam for throwing the vase in anger. She invited Kanna to stay for tea and conversation. Afterward, Kanna and the princess drank tea together until sunset. To thank Kanna for her treatment, she gifted her a precious carriage. Kanna did not expect to become close to the princess like this. It is truly a miracle. Because their first meeting was so terrible, even though it was a dangerous transaction to ensure her life. Now she is grateful for this encounter. A few days later, the empress thanked Kanna for the precious perfume. She worried it has been 2 weeks, and the princess still is not cured. Kanna explained, this is not an illness that can be completely cured in a short time. However, the itching is almost gone, so please rest assured, Your Majesty. At that moment, there was an announcement that the second prince had arrived. The empress became cheerful. It is Amelia's younger brother and the heir to the throne, Crescent. The empress said, my beloved son, what brings you here? If you had sent word, I would have gone to greet you myself. Kanna also stood up to greet him. Crescent asked her about Amelia's condition. He really wanted to visit, but his mother stopped him. Hearing this, the empress exclaimed, you absolutely must not come to the princess's palace. It is like a cave of bacteria, so you must never enter. Crescent reassured the empress not to worry. Kanna paused slightly upon hearing those words. She felt uncomfortable witnessing this scene. She thought she would be able to leave quickly. But the prince asked to take a walk with her. He complimented her. I have heard rumors of your beauty. Beautiful and knowledgeable in medicine. They walked and talked. But at this point Kanna felt strange. It was as if the prince was leading her to a secluded place. Suddenly, the prince turned to look at her. Now there is no one here. Finally, I am alone with madam. Kanna did not understand what he was saying. Could it be like with that Argon guy? She panicked as Crescent took her hand. But, he slipped a bottle of something into her hand. Crescent looked worried. This is the antidote. It can save you and my sister. Keep it a secret from others. From afar someone approached. It was the royal knights. They were armed and requested Kanna to accompany them to the palace. Kanna was puzzled by this request. They continued, this is a royal order. Princess Amelia has passed away. According to the maid who witnessed it, the princess said she felt tired all day. She suddenly coughed up blood and collapsed. The royal physician diagnosed that the princess's heart had stopped. She must have been exposed to an unknown poison. The first person they accused was Kanna. The empress slapped her. I entrusted you to treat my child. I trusted you. How dare you? She continuously slapped her face. Kanna coldly said it was not her. The empress raged. You still won't confess. The food the royal family consumes is served after being tested for poison. Therefore, if she ingested poison, it could only have been from the medicine you gave her. Kana insisted it was not her, but the empress did not listen and continued to slap and accuse her. Confess and beg for my forgiveness. I was wrong to trust your remedy, which caused my child to die like this. Kana seemed to want to say something. She looked up, her eyes sharp at the empress. I did not do it. The empress cried, you are still denying it. After killing my daughter. How shameful. She ordered. This prisoner is not allowed any food or drink until she confesses. After she left, Kana lay down on the floor, exhausted. She is so violent. It was not the first time she would been locked up like this, but it was the worst. Even her clothes were taken. They acted without any basic courtesy, treating her like an animal. They did not even have solid evidence. The reason many people treated her so disrespectfully is that she is just the forgotten duchess. She has no power to protect herself, and no one to protect her. So what she needs to survive in this cruel world is power. Power is the only thing she can have. Leaving the prison cell, the empress went to the princess's room to check if she was really dead. Looking at Amelia lying there, the empress's whole body trembled. My poor, innocent daughter. How could your heart stop beating? The doctor must have misdiagnosed. It is all my fault. I am sorry for saying those hurtful things to you. So please. At that moment, a man walked in and said, so my daughter is truly dead. The empress panicked, stammering, I apologize. It is all my fault. I told the Duchess Valentino. The man is Luke, the emperor of the Aslan Empire. He was furious. How could you let a member of the royal family use a remedy not from a doctor, but from Kana? An empress committing such an irresponsible act. I never thought the empress would be foolish enough to cause a princess's death. Despite what happened, he calculated Kana must be imprisoned, right? Tomorrow we will hold a trial. Duke Valentino and Duke Addis are currently in the black fog. During this time they will be cut off from outside communication, so we must finish this before they return. The princess has been murdered. We have sufficient reason to hold a trial. Kana murdered a member of the royal family. The Addis and Valentino families will also be implicated. The Addis and Valentino families are descendants of the holy knights who dispelled the black fog. They are lineages considered nobler than the royal family, thorns in the royal family side. We need them so we can't destroy them. However, this is an opportunity to undermine their reputation and enhance the value of the royal family. The woman nobody wants is a suitable pawn to use. The emperor planned a public trial would be even better. The public can participate. I will grant the empress the authority to participate and preside. But when mentioning the culprit, do not mention the Valentino or Addis families, only Kana. I will speak to the judge beforehand, so do not worry. If this unfolds before the commoners, the eldest daughter of the Addis family and the Duchess Valentino will become a laughingstock. And then we will sentence Kana to death. The next day, people were pointing and cursing. It is the black hair. She really has black hair and eyes. Oh my God, I have never seen anyone with black eyes like that before. Disgusting. The empress spoke silence. She appeared tired with dark circles under her eyes. The trial will begin. The judge asked Kana to step forward. Below, people were still whispering about Kana, and among them, a man in a black cloak seemed to be concealing his identity. He was silently observing the situation. In this unprecedented public trial, about 100 people were observing the proceedings, and there were many derogatory remarks about the Duchess. But the Empress remained silent in the face of these disrespectful actions, the reason being that this was her plan from the beginning. In other words, the purpose of this trial was to humiliate the families associated with Kana. The judge asked, "Is it true that you were responsible for treating Her Highness the Princess?" Kana replied, "Yes." He continued, "So it is true that you used Eastern medicine for the treatment?" Kana nodded. Seeing this, he shouted, "How could you treat such a dangerous disease with just herbal tea? You have not even studied medicine." I have a list of the medicines the Duchess used, so I invited an expert in pharmaceuticals who runs an Eastern medicine clinic for their opinion. Kana frowned in thought. A pharmaceutical shop was just a tea shop. Did they call a beverage maker a pharmaceutical expert? The man called a pharmaceutical expert entered, and was asked to comment on the medicines Kana had used. He said, "It can be seen that among the medicinal ingredients, the Duchess used sculptor. This ingredient is made from the thorns of the juniper tree." The judge asked, "Is it harmful to humans?" He replied, "It is not harmful, but juniper thorns are a good remedy for constipation." The whole courtroom became noisy. People gossiped about Kana treating the princess's skin disease with a remedy for constipation. They called Kana a quack. He became excited. Not only that, besides juniper thorns, the Duchess also used rhubarb, gold, silver, yellow corvina, a total of more than 10 kinds of oriental medicine boiled into a soup. This prescription is more like a poison. The judge asked, "Are you sure?" He affirmed, herbal tea is only effective when brewed from a single ingredient. Moreover, she used too many pieces of wood, so the patient could experience severe dehydration. Unable to listen any longer, Kana decided to speak up. "Everything you said is wrong. Sculptor is not good for constipation, and what is used to treat constipation is not juniper thorns. If you want to treat constipation, you should use peeled and dried cinnamon seeds. It seems you have misunderstood the uses of the ingredients." He was startled by Kana's words. What is she saying? Use seeds to treat constipation, not thorns, so thorns are not used to treat constipation. He shouted angrily, "I am a pharmaceutical expert. Are you now teaching me what I am best at?" Kana continued, "I am not teaching you, just pointing out your mistakes. If you are so confident, why do not you open a book on medicinal herbs and check? Then you will know who is right and who is wrong." Determined not to lose, he opened the book. "Fine, let us check." But as he read the words in the book, his eyes widened in surprise. Then he stood silently for a moment. The judge asked, "Why are you suddenly silent?" Seeing his strangeness, people became confused because he had mistaken the ingredients. They said they would not go to his pharmacy anymore. Kana said, "Juniper thorns are used to reduce swelling or pus. It is one of the good ingredients for treating skin diseases. It is written like that in the book, right?" He started to get scared. How did she know? He was even confused about this issue. He stammered, "What the Duchess said is correct." Kana was annoyed, wondering how much he had been paid to come here and humiliate her. Knowing he was wrong, he tried to argue back, "Juniper thorns are not the problem here. Using 10 different medicines at the same time is completely wrong. The Duchess prescribed a very dangerous prescription for Her Highness the Princess. She mixed it all together like a soup, but it is actually poison." Kana retorted, "It is true that if you mix medicinal herbs carelessly, it will be very dangerous, especially when mixing those with opposing properties. However, if you know how to mix them correctly, it will produce a very effective product." The Empress sighed. "How much longer do we have to listen to this nonsense? The trial is delaying the verdict while the Duchess's guilt is being exposed. Does this look amusing?" She slammed the table. "The royal princess is dead. How dare you prescribe the princess a medicine that only heretics use? This is an insult not only to the princess but to the entire royal family. This crime deserves the execution of 3 generations." The Empress tried to calm down and sat back down. But His Majesty values the achievements of the Valentino and Addis families, so he won't issue that verdict. Therefore, just let the Duchess receive this punishment. Kana sneered. She knew that in this world, the royal family was more important than a trial. The Empress turned and asked, "Judge, do you think the royal family's verdict is wrong?" The judge could only nod in agreement that His Majesty's verdict was very correct. She continued, "Then I will not delay any further. The crime of causing the death of the princess by prescribing dangerous and unsafe medicine is a crime deserving the death penalty for 3 generations, according to royal law. The Emperor has shown mercy to the Duchess and carefully considered. Except for the Valentino and Addis families involved, only Duchess Valentino will receive the death penalty." Hearing those words, Kana silently bowed her head slightly. The whole courtroom became noisy, everyone shouting in unison, "Die, you unlucky sinner, crying won't do you any good, black-haired witch, pay for the crime of killing the royal princess with your life." Kana stood there covering her face. What the hell was going on? It was no different from her expectations. The trial with its predictable ending was truly boring. The people here saw her bowing her head as she was taken out, so they thought she was crying. But in reality, it was just to hide her extremely bored expression. At this time, something interesting happened. The man in the black cloak suddenly appeared in front of Kana's cell. It was Orsini. He scoffed, "You look great." Kana remembered that he had not participated in the Black Fog expedition. She asked, "Didn't you participate in the military training camp?" Orsini said angrily, "I came here to see what you were doing. Your arrogance has finally crumbled, leading to this end. I always thought there would be a day when you would ruin the family's honor like a piece of trash." Kana said coldly, "Your wish has come true. Why do not you smile a little? Why is your face so stiff?" He asked, "How long are you going to act arrogant? Now you do not even have decent clothes to wear, and your face is bruised. You look terrible." Kana laughed as if to provoke him. "Does my face look like it did when you hit me? You must be a little sad. Do what you want." It will be hard to see me after today. Orsini's hand trembled as he gripped the cell door. You are about to be executed. Except for your father and your husband, no one can stop this. Seeing Kana still indifferent to the current situation, he shouted, Are you crazy? You are going to die tomorrow, do you understand? Kana paused in thought. Shouldn't that be good news for him? Why was he acting like this now? Did this guy want that? Kana said, Orsini, I am sorry, to his astonishment. She stood up and walked towards him. I did not expect to ruin the family's reputation like you said. I am very ashamed. But please, when I die, please do not hate me anymore. Orsini did not expect her to say that. But suddenly, Kana's expression changed. Did you think I would say that? She flipped him off. I'm sorry, but not really. I do not want to waste my breath on you, so get lost. Orsini was puzzled by her hand gesture. He called her crazy. She was no longer the Kana he knew. Kana turned away. Stop talking to this crazy woman and get out of here. Orsini was silent for a moment, then said, Make a wish. Ask for my help, beg for my mercy. I will save you. Kana could not believe her ears. Amelia was dead. She was in jail and sentenced to death. She never thought this boring story could develop into this situation. Kana silently walked back to the cell door. She reached out and touched Orsini. You're not kidding me, are you? Can you really help me escape execution? Orsini said, At least until your father arrives, you won't die. Then I will get you out of here and hide you somewhere. Of course, if your father turns a blind eye and spares you, you will have to live in hiding for the rest of your life. You won't be able to live under the name Kana Valentino or Kana Addis. You will have to run away like a wandering ghost with a new name and status. He smirked. Don't worry, I will give you a place to hide and live. However, you must swear to be my slave for the rest of your life. So beg like a worthless dog. Kana looked up and laughed. Are you kidding me? Find another way, idiot. Kana turned away. You stupid bastard should get out of here. Orsini laughed loudly. He bent the cell door bars with his hands. He grabbed Kana's collar and pulled her towards him. Do you prefer to choose death? She remained indifferent. Yeah, so get out of my face. He said angrily, Fine, do whatever you want. Just enjoy dying in there. With that, he turned and left. Kana was startled by Orsini's actions. Thankfully, that bastard was gone. She did not need help from him, her father, or her husband. She would protect herself. It was almost sunrise. Tomorrow would be a busy day. Everyone would be surprised, especially the Empress, who would probably faint. In the princess's palace, Amelia suddenly sat up. She looked directly at her maid. The maid could not believe it and shouted, Her Highness the Princess is alive. Hearing the news, the Empress immediately asked, What did you just say? The maid replied again, Princess Amelia is alive, Your Majesty. She was stunned. She dropped the teacup in her hand. Impossible. I was sure her heart had stopped beating. The maid was also frightened by this situation. The doctor said her blood vessels have started working again. He also said that Her Highness is very healthy, and that he may have misdiagnosed her earlier. I apologize, but His Majesty has also confirmed this. The Empress was like a madwoman. I said it was impossible. How dare you lie to me? The princess is definitely dead. Suddenly a voice interrupted. Your Majesty, are you all right? It was Amelia. Seeing the Empress's face, Amelia asked, What is wrong? Are you not happy that I am alive? She quickly denied it. The princess smiled. Then please be happy, Your Majesty. She gave a forced smile. This was not fake news. Amelia, her daughter, the stain of her life. Her failure. The daughter who should have died, so she had killed her own daughter. The emperor had been cruel to her just because Amelia had a strange illness. He would not accept it and threatened that if a terminally ill patient appeared in the royal family tree, even in death, she would not have the honor of being an empress. None of my descendants shall carry this strange illness. If there were, it meant the empress's bloodline was not pure. After saying those words, the emperor never came to the harem again. Because of Amelia, her reputation and her son's reputation had been ruined. The empress had countless times imagined killing Amelia. She could not let this get in the way of her and her son, so she had used Kana. There was no way Kana could cure the princess, something that so many doctors could not do. This was even more certain when she only prescribed strange and meaningless things. So, everything had gone according to her plan. The plan to kill the princess was successful, and Kana was sentenced to death. Then her life would bloom again. But, what she never anticipated was that the supposedly dead person would come back to life. After the greetings, Amelia excused herself. The empress was afraid. She had used poison to kill the princess. In the near future, she could not act rashly, or she would be suspected of planning to assassinate the princess. She had to subtly shift the blame to Kana's baseless remedies. If the princess was alive, she could still be accused of attempting to murder a royal. In any case, the emperor would give her the authority to handle it like the previous trial. After thinking it through, the empress sighed. She smiled with relief. Her composure did not last long, as she looked down at her hands. Scratches of unknown origin appeared on her hands. The skin on her wrists also turned red. She was startled. An itchy sensation spread throughout her body. Earlier in the cell, Kana had laughed. The empress felt the symptoms seemed familiar. She immediately went to the mirror. Looking at her reflection, he screamed. On the other side, Kana laughed. Is it okay to just take other people's things? Morning came, but Kana's execution had not been carried out, not even the next day or the day after that. Back to the day she had tea with the princess. Amelia had told Kana that their tea time today was a secret. She probably did not expect that this action would not only save her own life but also Kana's. The princess said, "This is a very expensive tea, so the empress told me to drink it alone. I heard it is not grown in the Western continent." Kana thanked the princess for her kindness, but when she saw what was inside the teapot, Kana's eyes widened. Yes. Did the empress give this to you, saying it was medicinal tea? Amelia nodded. Kana stared at it. This is cho-o, the root of the aconite flower. In the past, in Joseon, it was a poison with such a high mortality rate that it was used as an ingredient in poisons. Although it is possible to reduce its toxicity and use a small amount of it as medicine, it must be used with extreme caution. It is an extremely poisonous and dangerous medicine, so ordinary people without relevant knowledge should absolutely not use it carelessly. Kana asked worriedly, "When did the empress give this to you? Didn't she have any requests when she gave it to you?" Although Amelia did not understand why Kana was asking, she still replied, "I just received it this morning. Its shelf life is not long, so the empress told me to finish it within 3 days." Kana had a bad feeling. If she finished drinking this within 3 days, she would die immediately. She wondered, could this be a coincidence due to the empress's lack of understanding of Eastern medicine? Why, right before she had me treat the princess with medicine, did the empress give her this poison? If Amelia drank this and died, would not it be the perfect situation to blame me? Something was not right. The empress had quickly assigned the treatment to someone without a reputation like her, but was slow in delivering the medicine she requested. Callan, although alone, had still found all the necessary medicines to treat Lucy the very next day. All the ingredients she requested were recorded in the Eastern continent's medicinal drawings. And those were ingredients that could be easily found with money and power. There was no shortage of information or suppliers for them in the Western continent. But cho-o was different. It was not recorded anywhere. Or perhaps its uses had not been clearly proven in the Eastern continent. Assuming cho-o was not known as a poisonous herb in the Eastern continent, so Western continent people would not know or easily find it. Then no one in the world would dare to sell such an unidentified plant to the empress and call it medicine. That meant this was a poison the empress had deliberately purchased, not for treatment, but for poisoning. Kana had a headache when she realized this plot. If the empress blamed her after the poisoning, the emperor would easily cover it up, as both the Addis and Valentino families would be held responsible, and no one would want to clear her name. It was a trap from the beginning, but she had misjudged her opponent. She would not be easily fooled like that. Kana calmed down and explained everything to Amelia. After hearing that, Amelia was silent for a moment. She calmly said, "So that is how it is." Kana thought she would not believe her, but on the contrary, Amelia said she already knew that at some point the empress might kill her. From a few years ago, only occasionally, but the empress's eyes when looking at her showed that she felt ashamed of her. Perhaps the empress thought she was hindering Crescent's future, because the empress loved Crescent more than anyone. Amelia said sadly, "Now that the empress is determined to remove the obstacle, so this is the moment." Kana asked, "So, are you planning to die gently?" "Princess, I do not want to die because of being accused. I want to live." Seeing the princess silent, Kana said, "Then first you have to die. Anyway, the empress will definitely kill you, until she no longer feels ashamed of you. So, princess, pretend that you are being harmed. After that, show the empress that the cho-o is not effective, then she will have to find a new way to assassinate you. During that time you will be able to become the daughter the empress does not feel ashamed of. Have a way. I made a kind of medicine when I was 14 years old because I wanted to die without pain. When you drink it, your heart will gradually slow down and then stop, but I do not know if there was any error. My heart did not stop beating, it maintained a slow beating state and only beat once every 1 or 2 minutes, and it looked like the heart had stopped beating. The medicine will lose its effect in a day, so you will wake up before my execution is carried out. In the cell, the royal knight who was sent called Kana. He bowed his head and apologized for his previous rudeness. Currently, the Empress is looking for Madam. I hope you will give us the honor of serving you. Kana was taken to the Empress's room. She was currently feeling itchy all over her body. Her whole body felt like it was burning. Hearing the news that Kana had arrived, she immediately asked her to treat her. Suddenly, Kana felt dizzy. The Empress, seeing her not alert, threatened to punish her if Kana did not treat her immediately. She grabbed her hand, repeatedly telling her to heal her as she had done with Amelia. Kana could not stand it anymore, she collapsed. The cruel Empress grabbed her hair and cursed, "You bitch, open your eyes, you have to heal me before you faint." Seeing that violent action, the royal knight spoke up and told her to calm down. It seemed that Kana had lost strength due to the hard life in prison. Ignoring the dissuasion, she continued to order, "Even if you have to spray water on her face, wake her up. Bring water quickly, otherwise burn her skin to wake her up. If she still does not wake up, cut off her fingers." At this time the emperor appeared. He said, "Empress, what the hell are you doing? I know the Empress's wickedness, but how can you behave like those lowly people on the street?" She wanted to explain, but the emperor turned his back and left. The Empress thought she had done nothing wrong. If anything, it was the sin of devoting all her energy to the royal family. Yet now the emperor said it was all her fault. The Empress, as if going crazy, grabbed Kana's neck. This bitch knew the emperor was coming, so she pretended to faint. Hearing that, Kana sneered inwardly, "The Empress is quite perceptive, actually I was just pretending to faint." Despite the dissuasion, she continued to strangle and curse her. At this moment, someone outside was trying to get inside to see the situation. Hearing the noise outside the door, she turned to look. Kana also opened her eyes to look. The person who entered was Duke Alexandro. Everyone was surprised. He did not consider Kana as his daughter. But why did he come here looking like he had rushed from the battlefield? Seeing Kana unconscious, the Duke had a cold expression. He reached out his hand, went to Kana, and picked her up. He stood up and left, without leaving a word. The Empress could only sit and watch Kana being taken away without daring to speak. In the carriage, Kana was puzzled by her father's actions. What is wrong with him? Why is he letting me sit next to him like this? The opposite seat is still empty. Why did father come all the way here? It is as if I am some important existence. She wanted to open her eyes. Why is not father doing anything? I thought he would at least slap me on the cheek to interrogate me. Is he asleep? Kana opened her eyes to look. She was startled. The Duke was still awake and looking at her. Kana quickly closed her eyes, pretending she had not woken up yet. He probably has not noticed yet. Why is he staring at someone who fainted? Is my face so swollen, so strange that he has to keep looking? I do not know anymore. Have I ever known what is going on in this man's head? Don't think too much, I should endure this moment. After arriving at the Addis mansion, the Duke even personally took Kana to her bedroom. He did not do anything further and left. Later, Leah brought warm water, and Kana felt her hands cleaning her body. It had been a long time since Kana had lain on this soft bed. It lulled her to sleep, entrusting her body to Leah's hands. Several days had passed since Kana returned to the Addis mansion. Not long after, the Empress came herself. She still had not changed her personality. Gnashing her teeth in anger, "Do you know how much I have suffered? Hurry up and give me the medicine." Kana did not say a word but opened the medicine bottle and put it in her mouth. After drinking that medicine, the pain immediately disappeared. The Empress burst into tears and knelt before Kana. Kana smiled with satisfaction. The Empress had to experience moments of pain as the disease spread. It was an excruciating pain, as if her whole body was being ironed. With this pain, the power and position that the Empress had accumulated over time, all valuable things like gold, silver, and precious stones became useless, because nothing could erase the hellish pain. The moment the Empress received the medicine from Kana, she felt the pain all over her body disappear surprisingly quickly. It was not just a simple medicine, it was a deliverance. But that feeling of relief only lasted for a few seconds. The real torture began when she had a brief glimmer of hope. She needed more medicine. So, to get the medicine, the Empress grabbed her skirt and begged Kana, "I was wrong, I am sorry. I was really stupid. Please help me, I am really sorry. I can give you everything I have, I can't stand this pain anymore." Kana replied, after a brief examination, "I have a diagnosis. You have the same illness as Princess Amelia. Because of your age, the symptoms seem to be more severe. But do not worry, because your illnesses are similar. It is not too difficult for me to cure. However, the effect is only temporary, as you just experienced. Unfortunately, I have not been able to create the perfect cure yet. The Empress pleaded with Kana. Even just for a little while, let me escape this pain. But Kana said something she did not expect. Temporary medicine is not enough. I will try to cure this disease for you. The Empress, as if not believing what she had just heard, asked again, you will try to completely cure me? After I treated you so rudely, you still save me. Ordinary people would not do that. Kana patted her chest and affirmed, as a citizen of the Empire, how can I turn a blind eye when the Empress is suffering? If I continue my research, I can create a long-lasting medicine, and maybe one day cure this disease. I will definitely create such a medicine. The Empress was moved. How can she have such clear and innocent eyes towards someone who has been violent towards her? I was mistaken from the beginning. Kana is a woman unlike any other. Kana said, to do that I need the best environment. The Empress immediately agreed to this request. She repeatedly thanked and apologized to Kana. So Kana's plan was successful. Now it is time to enjoy. Enjoy the image of this empire's most powerful woman crying like a beast at her feet. After giving the Empress a chest full of temporary medicines, the Empress immediately funded the things I requested. A medicinal herb area was installed on one side of the laboratory. It was filled with medicinal herbs from the eastern continent. After everything was done, the princess and Kana had an appointment. Kana said, because the Empress used a lot of perfume mixed with my special medicine, she had such severe symptoms. The princess said, the Empress did not allow me to scratch in front of everyone. Every time I had to bite my lip and endure it, she was very strict with me. The princess laughed. As promised, I won't tell anyone about that medicine. From Kana's perspective, she had gained the trust of both the princess and the Empress. She was about to talk about the treatment when someone arrived. It was Prince Crescent. The princess asked her if she minded letting the prince in. Kana remembered the first time she met him, then replied, it is okay. The prince entered and asked, how are you feeling, sister? I was very worried. Amelia asked, I heard you gave Madam the antidote before she was arrested, right? So you knew in advance that I would be poisoned. The prince smiled, I knew Mother tried to poison you. Both Kana and Amelia were surprised by this answer. The prince sat down and recounted. After the Duchess agreed to treat you, no one was allowed in or out of your palace without Mother's permission. I tried to prevent that, but Mother cleverly blocked it. I could not ask anyone for the antidote, and I could not deliver it myself, so I pretended that I happened to meet the Duchess. But I was one step too late. I am sorry I could not help you. Kana looked at him with a suspicious expression. Why is he telling this to the princess? Currently, Amelia is pretending not to know the Empress's plan. Why did he come here and reveal that secret? Crescent asked, what are you going to do now, sister? I can be a witness for you if you want. Both the princess and Kana were surprised by these words. Crescent continued, if you want to report this to the Emperor, I will help you. Kana was worried. She thought Crescent's words were just lies. Would he help with the accusation? What is he plotting? The Marquis Mercy family, with their enormous wealth, controlled the continent. This was a prestigious family that had produced many generations of empresses. The current empress also came from this family. The Duke of Mercy was the empress's younger brother. They were both famous for their deep sibling affection. They were so close that the empress's wishes were also the Duke of Mercy's wishes. If he dared to accuse the empress, the Duke of Mercy would also suffer the blow. And Crescent, who until now had been supported by the Duke of Mercy, would certainly lose his biggest support. As the next powerful emperor, the prince was in the midst of a political war. Was he planning to abandon the Mercy family and the empress? It was absurd. Surely the prince was trying to find out if Amelia intended to take revenge on the empress. She had to tell the princess about this. The princess spoke. Crescent, I do not understand what you are saying. The empress deliberately poisoned me. I do not understand what you are saying. Don't just casually say those things. I am afraid someone might hear. Crescent smiled sinisterly. I apologize, it seems I misunderstood. You are truly wise. Kana rejoiced inwardly. Fortunately, Amelia realized the strangeness. These royals are a mess. The empress wanted to kill her own daughter. Siblings did not trust each other and tried to hide their true intentions. Could one survive in this royal family without shedding too much blood and tears? Up to this point, Crescent still behaved like a real sibling to the princess. Could his giving the antidote to save Amelia be his last conscience? Without thinking much more, Kana stood up and excused herself. Time ticked by. In just 2 weeks, the capital became quiet. It was as if the news of the princess's death or Kana's death sentence had happened a decade ago. Kana's daily life also became peaceful. Amelia's treatment was going well. The men of the Addis family had gone to the Black Fog and had not returned yet. Occasionally, Kana met Chloe and Isabel, but they just ignored her and did not bother her. The peace did not last long. Kana encountered trouble again. A group of knights was sent to bring her back to the Valentino mansion at Josephine's request. She was bewildered. They chased me away before, but now they are calling me back, and they even sent 10 knights just to deliver the message. Surely they wanted to put pressure on her. If she did not cooperate, they would forcibly drag her away. Kana skillfully refused. Currently my body is not well, as you know it has not been long since I was wrongly convicted and imprisoned. The lead knight said, the Valentino family also has a very good doctor. You will be well taken care of there. While trying to deal with these people, suddenly someone pushed her from behind. It was Chloe. She laughed and told Kana to go home quickly. You have been gone for a while. It is your mother-in-law who called you back, not anyone else. Even if you are not feeling well, you have to come back. She turned and threatened her. Even if you die, you must die in the Valentino family. That is the duty of a daughter-in-law. She pushed Kana and told the knights to take her home. Because Callan, Orsini, or Alexandra were not there, Chloe's words were law. Kana knew she could not resist, so she agreed to the request. Back at the Valentino Duke's mansion, Josephine angrily slapped her. You are the shame of the Valentino family. Do you know how much Valentino's reputation has plummeted because of you? Kana stood still, enduring the beating from this harsh woman. Because of things like you, I have been slandered in high society. Since leaving the mansion, you have only damaged Valentino's honor. Don't even think about going out for now. She ordered Kana locked in her room. Kana argued against Josephine's decision. She still had to treat the princess. She angrily said, quit your job. I will talk to the Empress directly. Don't you ever practice medicine again. After saying that, she locked her in the room and confiscated all her luggage to prevent her from escaping. She did not let her out of the house for several months, only leaving her a thin nightgown. This was too much for her to bear. There were 2 people guarding Kana's room. Seeing the door slightly open, the guard said, Duchess, you are not allowed to go out. Before he finished speaking, the 2 of them were drugged. Fortunately, Kana had hidden it on her just in case. Although Kana could wait until one day when the Empress needed medicine, and then she would be rescued. But last time she had sent a lot of medicine to the Empress, so she could not waste time waiting for the Empress to use it all. She wanted to go outside immediately, but she could not in such thin pajamas. Kana looked around. She thought there was a high probability that Sylvian was not in his room. In her 7-year memory, he had rarely been home. She decided to go into his room and steal a robe. Opening the door and entering, there was no sign of Sylvian inside. Kana quickly searched for the wardrobe. Just as she was about to look for it, a voice suddenly spoke from behind her. What are you doing? Lady Kana. Kana could not help but feel puzzled. Her heart was filled with questions about why this bastard Sylvian was hiding there. After a moment of silence staring at each other, Sylvian suddenly spoke, dressed like that in someone else's bedroom. Hearing this, Kana instinctively raised her hand to cover herself. She only now realized that she was only wearing a thin white nightgown. Kana could not help but curse inwardly. If you know that, why do not you turn your face away? What are you looking at? Shameless. Sylvian was still leaning against the wall, arms crossed, looking at Kana with a cold expression. Kana turned around and said, I did not know the Duke was in the room. Sylvian snorted sarcastically. You did not know? Kana quickly made up an excuse, saying that if she knew Sylvian was in the room, she definitely would not have barged in. She knew full well that this reason sounded unconvincing, and that she herself did not think he would believe her. But contrary to her expectations, Sylvian just smiled and asked, Then why did you come into my room? To steal a robe and run away. That is what she thought in her head, but she did not dare and could not say it out loud. Should I run away? What should I say? Kana pondered for a long time, still not knowing what excuse she could find to cover up this incident. Sylvian broke the silence again. I heard you are having a hard time, but it seems you are doing better than I thought. Kana turned her head in confusion to look at Sylvian. He continued, I know Lady Kana is struggling with a lot of things. Kana did not seem to understand what he meant. She wanted to know what his struggling with everything implied. How should I say this? Do you know that everything you do will be disadvantageous to the Valentino family? Kana froze, her whole body stiff, not knowing what to say. His words were like a harsh criticism. Calm as a lake, but definitely a criticism. Does he want all the attention after I was sentenced to death? A harsh criticism based on a huge misunderstanding. There is a limit to what an unfortunate person can endure. Kana laughed loudly and said, "Sir, I made everything clear before." Before she could finish her sentence, Sylvian raised his hand to interrupt her. "Very well, I will make a deal with Lady Kana. In bed." As he spoke, he stepped closer to Kana. "Let us go to bed. Or do you want a different special place?" Kana was stunned, as if she could not believe her ears. Her eyes widened. "A deal in bed, wow, this guy really is." A smirk appeared on Sylvian's lips as he looked at her. "He always treats me like trash." She shuddered with anger as she thought. "What kind of deal do you want? It seems like the Duke wants me to do something." Sylvian immediately replied, "Yes, you just need to be quiet like before. Like the past 7 years and throughout Kana's life, an existence that no one cares about, fainter than a shadow." Sylvian continued, "Instead, will you deal with me? That means I have somewhat fulfilled my responsibilities as a husband. Is not that what Lady Kana wants?" Kana scoffed inwardly. "Do you have the guts to do that?" But outwardly she just gave a cold laugh and said, "No, this is not what I want. This is definitely not what either I or Jua want." Rolling around in bed while being looked at with contempt. Sylvian's smile immediately disappeared from his face. He looked at her coldly. He lowered the arm that was close to Kana and reminded her, "It is better for you to be honest like before." Kana wondered if that was what bothered Sylvian. All of her actions and words had become a ploy to attract his attention, to the point that it became increasingly annoying. Perhaps he thought the matter would be more easily resolved with their bodies. If that is really the case, then enough is enough, because I do not feel the need to talk to you anymore. Thinking this, Kana lowered her head. Then she quickly put on a forced smile and said, "Fine, then let me tell you what I want. Of course, I won't be able to overlook this humiliation." She slowly reached down and pulled on the side of her dress. Her other hand slid inside the silk dress. Then, she slowly walked closer to Sylvian. "The reason I came here is so that I can." Kana came close to Sylvian and placed a hand on his chest. Sylvian was momentarily surprised, then quickly smiled with satisfaction. Suddenly, Kana pulled out a bottle of sleeping perfume from under her nightgown. She held it up and shouted at Sylvian, "It is none of your business." Then, she immediately sprayed the perfume directly into Sylvian's face. "You do not need to bother. What I want. I do not need your attention." Sylvian, caught off guard, stumbled backward. Kana covered her mouth and laughed loudly. "Like this, because it is none of your business, you understand." She knew the effect of this perfume well. Just one spray was enough to knock out the entire Valentino nights. "You idiot, you will be sleeping in bed alone." Kana smiled triumphantly, having achieved her goal. She gleefully went over her plan of action. While he was unconscious, she would take his robe and escape from here. At this moment, Kana stopped laughing. She looked dazed, as if realizing something. Why is not he unconscious?" Sylvian, after being sprayed with perfume, could still stand firm, completely unaffected. She was puzzled. "Impossible. If I look more closely." Sylvian gave a chilling smile and questioned, "What did you just do, Lady Kana? Did you just attack me?" As he questioned, he quickly approached her. Kana, frightened, unconsciously took a few steps back. What is going on? Why is not he unconscious? Kana panicked, not knowing what to do. She closed her eyes and sprayed straight ahead. Not enough dosage, I do not know. But after a while he was still the same as before, completely fine. Kana did not seem too surprised. "Just as I predicted, this method won't work." She helplessly lowered her hand, stammering, unable to speak. Kana tried to reassure herself. "Calm down, Kana. They say even if you enter a tiger's den, you can still survive." She tried to explain, "So I thought the Duke could not sleep because of the huge workload. Let me ease this burden for you. You know, sleep is a very important part of controlling the quality of life, is not it?" Although she knew her words sounded absurd and unbelievable, Kana could not think of anything better to say than this nonsense. Sylvian smiled, seeing through her ploy. He said sarcastically, "Is that so? Damn it, look at that face." It clearly did not work. Kana was still thinking of a way out when, suddenly, Sylvian grabbed her hand holding the perfume bottle. Kana struggled, wanting to escape from Sylvian, but could not pull her hand away because his strength was too great, making her unable to move. Sylvian easily snatched the perfume bottle from her hand. His expression was cheerful, but his words were icy. "Lady Kana, we have had a fun time, have not we?" He then sprayed the perfume on her. Kana was stunned. Sylvian acted so quickly that she could not react, only able to stand frozen in place. Affected by the perfume, Kana's mind started to become hazy, her eyelids slowly drooping. Bastard. Before collapsing into Sylvian's arms, Canna was still wondering why the sleeping perfume, which clearly had an immediate effect, was not effective on Sylvian. As Canna fainted in his arms, Sylvian could not help but burst out laughing. The next morning in the living room, Madame Chloe was sipping tea with a variety of pastries displayed on a tray. She sighed in satisfaction. What a wonderful tea party without any worries. It seems like the Valentino family has dealt with that troublesome girl. I feel much more at ease. At this moment, a maid suddenly entered the room. She carefully reported to her, Madame Chloe, Duke Addis has returned. Madame Chloe could not hide the joy on her wrinkled face, because peace had finally returned to this house. Madame Chloe slowly walked towards Duke Addis's room and asked the maid, "Is he in his bedroom?" The maid respectfully followed behind and bowed, "Yes, madam." Duke Alexandro and Madame Chloe had quite different personalities. They both stayed in separate rooms, even though they were married, but that was good for her, because he did not let anyone into his room. That stubborn refusal to let anyone near him. I find it quite amusing. Alexandro is the type of man who is not interested in anything in the world. Madame Chloe had arrived at the Duke's room. Alexandro was sitting at the reception table, sipping tea. Madame Chloe spoke first. "Welcome back, Your Grace. You have worked hard. If you want to bathe, I will go and prepare the bath for you." Alexandro coldly refused this offer. "No need." Madame Chloe breathed a sigh of relief. The relief was clearly visible on her face, because she seemed to have anticipated his immediate refusal, and she was glad that she still understood the Duke best. Madame Chloe walked towards Alexandro and sat down on the chair placed right next to him. "I also heard that the monsters have come out of the black fog again. It has been a long time since the last time, but every time, these monsters become more ferocious." She put on a flattering smile as she spoke. "You are working very hard to protect the Aslan Empire and the rest of the continent." Although it sounded like a perfunctory compliment, it was actually true. If it were not for the descendants of the Addis and Valentino families, the Western continent would face similar tragedy and destruction as the Southern continent. So they had a status equivalent to a high-ranking religious temple, bringing faith to people during that time. All descendants of the two families had a great influence on the people, as they were considered the only ones capable of fighting the Black Fog. Therefore, the peace of the entire continent depends on this man, and I am very glad that the man who can protect the entire empire is my husband. That is why I will not let you worry about trivial matters. You have been on the front lines for quite some time. Perhaps you should spend some time at home resting. I have taken care of all the recent troubles myself. You were very annoyed, were not you, because of that girl Ken?" Just hearing Canna's name mentioned, Duke Alexandro's face immediately darkened. He glared at Madame Chloe as if to warn her. Seeing this, she knew her cue and immediately fell silent, but could not help but feel fear in her heart. Why is he looking at me like that? How long has it been since I felt such a piercing gaze directed at me? She did not understand what the Duke wanted her to do. Duke Alexandro just stared at her without saying a word. Madame Chloe shivered. She anxiously stammered an explanation. "Oh, it is just that the Valentino family came to take that girl away." "Agreed. From now on, you do not have to worry about her anymore." "What is this? Why do I feel this way, like I have done something wrong?" She wondered inwardly. Strange. Usually, he is indifferent to everything. So I do not think he would care about Canna. So what is with this heavy atmosphere around me? "Ha, sister, no way. Canna has returned to the Valentino mansion." Callan seemed to not believe what his mother had said. "Did she go back on her own?" he asked again, as if to verify something. Madame Chloe lost her patience and snapped back at Callan. "So you think I kicked her out of the house?" Even though Madame Chloe explained this much, Callan still did not believe her story at all. Impossible. She was here to ask father for permission to divorce. What the hell happened while I was gone? Sister Canna was sentenced to death for attempting to murder Princess Amelia, but it was a misunderstanding, and she went back to take care of the princess. Callan's sister interrupted him. "But is there a problem?" She returned to her husband's house. "That is a good thing, right?" Callan turned and asked his mother. "Does father know about this?" Madame Chloe faltered, hesitantly affirming. "And father did not say anything?" "No, well, he is always like that." Callan urged Madame Chloe. "Mother, can you explain everything clearly to me?" Orsini scoffed. "I knew this would happen." She took a lot of time to convince everyone that she wanted to divorce Duke Valentino, but then, as always, went back to him like a fool. Maybe it was just a ploy to get Sylvian's attention, but it seems things did not work out, and she had to crawl back herself. Pathetic. "But why should we care about her?" Orsini shouted. "That dirty monster dared to use the Addis family's reputation to get Sylvian's attention," he said, angrily crushing the cup he was holding. His sister, seeing his reaction, became frightened. Brother, why are you reacting like this? Orsini shouted back at her, because that monster made us look like fools. Look how readily she sacrifices herself for Sylvian. She made a joke out of the Addis family, and I became her joke too. Maybe that is why she refused my offer then. That filthy woman bet her own life just to set up a despicable ploy. Maybe she thought Sylvian would return to her. She wanted to wait until she was helped by Sylvian. Maybe that is why she did not want me to do it. Orsini vented his frustration as he recalled the events. Callan was confused. Was there something between you and her? Oh no, I mean Canna Valentino. What the hell are you talking about? Orsini interrupted him and turned to leave. Do you think I have time to talk to that filthy monster? If you want to talk to that dirty woman, tell her I do not want to see her face near the Addis family again. If she dares to cross my path again, I won't let her off. That was the end of their conversation. Callan returned to his study. He held the papers, lost in thought as he recalled his younger brother's behavior. It is strange to see him so angry. He was angrier than usual, and even broke the cup he was holding. Exactly what happened between the two of them? Is it like what happened with me? You mean nothing to me, older sister, and you should think the same way. You also mean nothing to me. He recalled Canna's harsh words. If she rejected him like she did to me with such bitter words. But then Callan tried to push aside these meaningful thoughts. He did not want to care about their business anymore. Yes, she is gone. Let her do whatever she wants. Anyway, she does not want anything to do with this family. I tried to become closer, but she coldly refused. She built a wall herself and let go of my hand first, so I do not need to care about her anymore. At this moment, the image of Canna with another man appeared in Callan's mind. Thinking of this, he could not contain his anger and crumpled the paper in his hand. Or did she go to see that guy again, the one she considers her brother? If she met him during the past 7 years, they must have met at the Valentino mansion. Did she leave to meet him, her brother? Callan's face was now extremely unpleasant. He gritted his teeth, the veins on his face bulging. Suddenly, the door to his room opened with a creak, pulling Callan back to reality. Little Lucy stood outside the door and timidly spoke. Brother Callan, so Sister Canna won't be coming back. I have not said goodbye to her yet. Callan quickly regained his composure and cheerfully replied to the little girl. Oh Lucy, you do not have to do that. Lucy cautiously approached Callan. Even so, can I see her again? She won't treat me anymore. Little Lucy disappointedly lowered her head and sighed dejectedly. Hearing this, Callan seemed to remember something. Although Canna and Lucy had only met for a short time, perhaps they had become closer as they saw each other daily due to the treatment. Every day she gave Lucy medicine. I even completed my obligations according to the contract. Yes, that is it. No wonder I felt something was strange. Callan seemed enlightened. He remembered that the contract Canna signed was still not over. Callan quickly stood up and comforted the little girl. Don't worry, Lucy. You will see her today. I will bring her back, he said with a smile as he left his desk. Callan softly reassured little Lucy. Don't worry, you will see her again today. I will bring her back to this house. Hearing that, Lucy was extremely excited. She could not hide her joy and eagerly asked again, as if she still could not believe her ears. Really, promise? Callan wanted to convince himself that he was doing this for Lucy. Canna has to come back here because she received a huge sum of money to treat Lucy. Thinking that, Callan went to the coat rack, put on his hat and coat, preparing to depart for the Valentino family mansion. Callan's promise to bring Canna home made Lucy quickly happy again. She smiled brightly. I will bring her back right now, Callan said as he put on his hat. In his heart, he was silently blaming Canna for ignoring the contract and acting recklessly like a loose person, but he could not hide his joy at having the opportunity to see her again. At this time in Sylvian's bedroom, Canna woke up with a start. She quickly sat up and looked around in a daze. Where am I? Sylvian's room. Where is he? Then, Canna immediately reached under the hem of her dress where she had kept the sleeping perfume. My sleeping perfume is gone. Canna unexpectedly smirked. Then, she immediately flew into a rage, repeatedly punching the pillow to vent her anger, while cursing Sylvian in her heart. This is infuriating, that despicable bastard. Canna recalled last night's events. She wondered why the sleeping perfume had no effect on Sylvian. After she sprayed him with the perfume, he was still able to remain conscious and even snatch the bottle from her. Canna regretted, if it had worked then, I could have escaped right away. At this moment, the voices of 2 knights came from outside the door. Is she here? Are you sure she did not go out? Maybe she is over there. Then I will check the opposite direction. The two knights quickly passed by Sylvian's room. Hearing their voices, Kana immediately felt guilty. She thought to herself, it seems the knights are still looking for me. I do not want to use this method, but I can't do anything else, since the sleeping perfume is gone, my last and secret weapon. A powdered poison that causes pain as if the whole body is being bitten by insects. It is not life-threatening, and the pain will gradually subside in a few days, but they will have to endure intense pain during those days, to the point that even breathing will make them scream in agony. First, I will spray this on the gate guards. While they are in chaos, I will find a way to put this poison into the Duke's family's water container. A time of death will come when all the servants of the Valentino family writhe in this terrible pain. While Kana was still immersed in this plan, a maid suddenly opened the door and entered. She spoke timidly, "Excuse me, Your Grace. I need to clean." Before she could finish her sentence, she suddenly saw Kana sitting in a corner on the bed. The maid screamed in alarm. "Who is there? Why are you lying on the Duke's bed, you Duchess?" When she realized it was Kana, she quickly left the room, calling Madame Josephine's name as she went, as if she wanted to report to her immediately. Kana smirked inwardly, "But consider this the price you pay for taking care of me so carelessly." The maid ran to Madame Josephine and whispered the whole story to her. Upon hearing this, Madame Josephine was so surprised that she blurted out loud, "What? Kana is in Sylvian's bedroom." Lillian, hearing this news, immediately turned to stone. Her face darkened, her eyes flashing with anger. She asked Madame Josephine, "Kana is in Sylvian's bedroom." She then continued to question her. "Why is Kana in Sylvian's bedroom? Did they sleep together?" Madame Josephine, realizing her slip, hurriedly explained, "No way, Sylvian has been out since early morning. It seems Kana was hiding in Sylvian's room." She thought to herself, wondering where this Kana had run off to in the middle of the night. But then this happened right when the princess arrived. Her plan for a royal daughter-in-law was about fail. Thinking of this, she became anxious, quickly reassuring Princess Lillian. "That girl has always been like that. Actually, Sylvian is very soft-hearted and not good at refusing." Lillian said nothing, just stared at her for a long time. Josephine flinched at the princess's cold gaze. She shivered. The princess will never believe such an absurd excuse. This won't do. I will have to accept the princess's wrath. Josephine then turned and shouted at the servants, "Bring Kana here immediately. She dared to defile the Duke's bed, she will be punished." She urged them angrily, "Hurry up, call the knights and bring that girl to me." Lillian was pondering. It seems they did not sleep together. She analyzed the situation. After the incident with the Grand Duchess being poisoned, I thought Sylvian would consider divorce. Indeed, there is no better husband than Sylvian Valentino. This is not a typical romance or love story. Marrying Sylvian is the best way to consolidate and maintain my power. I have no intention of marrying in a foreign country full of strangers. I will live in this country as a princess, or at a higher title, until I die. In this Aslan Empire, only 3 families meet the conditions to achieve my goal: Addis, Valentino, Mercy. Excluding Empress Mercy's family, Duke Addis already has children, and he himself is too healthy, so the succession of this title seems impossible. So what is left is only Sylvian Valentino. He is married, but fortunately has no children. In fact, he is in a situation that could easily lead to divorce. Then I can become the Duchess of Valentino and give birth to a child who can succeed the Duke. I will build a solid foundation and hold power firmly in my hands. Not this lowly woman. At the same time, Kana was escorted by the knights before Madame Josephine. She crossed her arms and glared, shouting, "Kana Valentino, kneel down." The knight beside her, upon hearing his master's order, immediately pushed her head down. Kana's knees hit the stone floor hard. Madame Josephine questioned her in a raised voice. "What are you doing wandering around the mansion? I guess you are so ashamed you can't say anything, huh?" Lillian glanced contemptuously at Kana's miserable state. Dressed so shabbily and kneeling on the dirty floor like a beggar in the slums. She laughed at her previous thought. "I can't believe I felt threatened for a moment by someone like her. A foolish worry, and I was too sensitive." Lillian then spoke softly, playing the good person. "Countess Elister, is not this a bit too much?" Madame Josephine was overjoyed, thinking that the princess was feeling better. She put on a flattering air. "No, Kana has committed a grave offense, and this is a serious matter. You have a kind heart, princess." The atmosphere was less tense, but it was not enough. I have to make the princess feel satisfied. Thinking this, she completely changed her attitude, looking at Kana with malicious eyes. She used her fan to lift Kana's chin and interrogated her. "Speak, why were you in Sylvian's bedroom?" Kana glanced over. She saw Lillian in the distance leisurely enjoying her tea, as if nothing had happened. She smiled as if intending to provoke Madame Josephine. It is because I slept there. Then she smiled and explained as she brushed aside Madame Josephine's fan. The Duke himself carried me to bed. Oh, and he also tucked me in. Hearing this, Lillian slammed her teacup down, her voice tinged with anger. Absurd, when there are matters concerning the heir. The Duke is more cautious than anyone. Unless you can bear an heir, the Duke will never allow you in his bedroom. Kana simply ignored her and continued, no, but the Duke was the one who suggested we sleep together. Lillian's face stiffened, her expression frozen. Kana continued cheerfully, actually, I did not intend to sleep, but the Duke was very enthusiastic. She figured that even though it caused a bit of a misunderstanding, the truth was actually somewhat similar to what she said. Josephine was furious. She did not hesitate to slap Kana across the face. How dare you speak such nonsense? How dare you lie in front of the princess? You are insulting the royal family. Lillian gritted her teeth, her whole body trembling with anger. Josephine, beside her, did not notice this and continued to strike Kana, scolding her as she hit. Don't you know that insulting the royal family is punishable by death? Hurry up and admit you are making things up. Tell me the truth immediately. Although her face was bruised and her mouth bleeding, Kana still smiled triumphantly, as if she had achieved her goal. Just as she was about to strike again, a familiar male voice suddenly rang out from the door. What are you doing right now? The newcomer was Callan. He was stunned by the scene before him. A horrific achievement unfolded before his eyes, leaving Callan speechless. The dirty, dust-covered dress, the chapped and bleeding lips. Even her clothes were taken away. Kana was not wearing anything but her undergarments. The sight of his frail older sister being bullied was not a misunderstanding. Callan repeated his previous question in a loud voice. Asked, what the hell are you doing? Josephine was flustered. She stammered, unable to speak, slowly lowering the hand that was about to strike Kana. Hisses. She could not understand why Callan Addis was here. She tried to suppress the fear rising within her. No, Josephine, calm down. What is wrong with the second son of the Addis family visiting? So what if he witnessed Kana being abused? If Kana was that important to the Addis family, if this girl was so precious that they cared about her so much, she would have been released from prison a long time ago. But all this time they just watched and did nothing, so I have nothing to fear. She opened her fan as if to fan the flames of her anger, and also to try to keep herself calm. Kana is now a member of our family, an adult in the family. I must correct the behavior and rules for this Valentino daughter-in-law. Callan's face darkened upon hearing this. Did you just say, correct the behavior and rules? He lowered his eyes to look at Kana. You stripped her naked and made her kneel on the dirty floor, in front of everyone, and treated her like an animal. Uncomfortable. Josephine was feeling very uncomfortable. She remembered the day Kana got married 2 years ago. How dare you think of going into the Duke's room while he is in a meeting, and then to be discovered by a nobleman? You humiliated me. Kana felt wronged, her voice trembling as she tried to explain, but if I did not do that, the Duke would not look at me. Josephine could not control herself and slapped her, still arguing back. Although she nagged and scolded Kana for various reasons, this was the first time she had laid a hand on her. Because it was an impulsive action, she herself was surprised. How dare I touch the eldest daughter of the Addis family? Although I treat her like trash, she is still a noble. In the worst-case scenario, there could be a conflict between the two families. But contrary to her fears, Kana only apologized without a word of defiance. Where is that Kana girl from back then? Even if I beat her 100,000 times, nothing would happen. No one would protest, and Kana would remain silent. That was the unwritten law she had to abide by. Ending her flashback, Madame Josephine tried to justify herself to Callan. If you were me, Sir Callan, you would do the same. Kana dared to lie in front of the princess. She could not understand Callan's reaction. Step aside. Callan coldly approached, his voice firm. Josephine was still stubborn, refusing to yield. Sir Callan, you are being rude. This is the Valentino mansion. This is not a place where you have the right to order me around. Do you know what Kana did? She then hit Kana's face hard with her fan. Last night, the knights were drugged unconscious by her magic perfume, and then she snuck into the Duke's room. Instead of feeling remorse, she dared to lie in front of the royal family. Furthermore, she was brought to public trial as a member of the Valentino family. This disgrace will never be repeated. The Addis family may tolerate this behavior, but the Valentino family cannot. I will not stand idly by and watch this daughter-in-law ruin the family's honor. Callan did not listen to a word Madame Josephine said. He was only focused on Kana's injuries. In response to Callan's pity, Kana only frowned, glaring at him with a cold expression. Callan was puzzled. He kept asking himself, why is it like this? Her lips are beaten to the point of bleeding. Why, instead of asking for help, does she make that face, as if I am the reason she is distracted? Madame Josephine suddenly approached Callan and warned him loudly. So, do not interfere in our family matters and go back. If you leave, I will overlook your rudeness. Callan said nothing, only glared. Alright, stop overthinking. There is one thing I need to do right now. Thinking this, he reached for the sword at his hip and quickly drew it. Madame Josephine was frightened. She jumped and exclaimed, Sir Callan, what are you doing? Callan warned coldly, I do not want to make things more complicated, Countess Elister. Everyone look at what he is doing, he is the one causing trouble. He is drawing his sword. Do you want discord between the two families? Josephine said, fearfully backing away. Callan remained unafraid. That depends on you, you decide. Do you want a conflict between the two families? Because I can handle either one. Josephine thought to herself, are you serious? Are you going to start a war over a girl like Kana? Are you going to do this for your family? But you have always ignored things like this before. Wasn't Kana treated worse than a human, let alone a daughter of the Addis family? That is right, why are they acting like this now? Having come this far, I can't back down now. But if I do not stop here, a war between the Addis and Valentino families. If the descendants of the knights have a conflict, will the conflict between the protectors of the continent continue? She thought of Sylvian. She remembered his cold-bloodedness and his warning not to cause him trouble. There is a chance I will be kicked out of the house for making things worse. Josephine finally yielded to Callan's resolve. He turned away. Fine, do whatever you want. I do not care if you take that girl or not anymore. Callan was satisfied and slowly sheathed his sword. He walked towards Kana, extending his hand to help her up. Duchess, this way. Kana coldly told him to get out of the way. Then she quickly stood up straight. Callan's face showed alarm. He decisively took off his coat. Callan put it on Kana and urged her to leave quickly. Kana was reluctant to leave. She turned back with a sigh. It is a pity. If Callan had not come, I would not have been able to see it with my own eyes. I would not have known whether I was satisfied or not this time. Kana slowly took out a handkerchief and wiped the blood from her face. Then she threw it on the floor and said, well then, see you later, mother. She turned to look at Josephine with a provocative expression. Josephine was furious, her whole body trembling with anger. After Kana left, Josephine shouted, my God, look at his rude attitude. I never thought Sir Callan would be such an ill-mannered person. Isn't that right? How dare he draw his sword in front of a member of the royal family? Only uneducated people would act like that. Lillian remained indifferent, saying nothing, as if it had nothing to do with her. Seeing this, Josephine became even angrier. Damn it, usually I always agree with the princess, but this time she did not say a word. Is she trying to remain neutral? This is infuriating. Anyway, he is the son of Alexandro Addis, the duke who tore monsters to pieces with his bare hands. Is not he? But acting like that is not like a nobleman at all. While she was rambling, she suddenly felt an incessant itching on the back of her neck. Her whole body froze, feeling as if hundreds of bugs were crawling all over her. Josephine screamed in fear. Bugs, there are bugs in my clothes. It seemed that Kana's poison was taking effect. She yelled at the servants, what are you doing? Get them off me, hurry up, they are biting me, it hurts. The two maids quickly obeyed, immediately searching all over her body. After a while, still finding nothing, they looked at each other in confusion, not knowing what to do. Josephine continued to scream, urging the servants. Hurry up and get them off me, bugs, they are still biting me, I want you to hurry up and get them off me. Lillian, standing to the side, saw this scene and fearfully covered her face. At this time in the carriage, Kana was sighing dejectedly. She thought about the Valentino mansion. There must be something interesting happening right now. The feeling of pain as if hundreds of thousands of insects are biting into my skin. She recalled being in Sylvian's room. Kana had brought that powdered poison with her, and when carrying such a dangerous chemical weapon, she had also prepared preventive measures for herself. Kana had prepared the antidote in advance and hidden it with the sleeping perfume. It is good that Sylvian did not check my body. Right after the maid finished cleaning Sylvian's bedroom, she ran to tell Josephine. After taking the antidote as a precaution against poisoning, Kana had applied the poison all over her cheeks and chin. Because she knew that Josephine would never miss the opportunity to slap her in the face. Just as she predicted, Josephine was provoked and slapped her. However, Kana had applied a lot of poison to her face, and with just a gust of wind, all the poison would fly into Josephine's nose and mouth. What happened next was Josephine's living hell. Josephine could not bear the itching any longer. Her eyes rolled back, tears streamed down her face, and the blood vessels in her eyes were clearly visible. After a scream, she fainted, to the astonishment of everyone present. Kana was silently complaining. "Damn Callan, I should have seen that scene, this bastard is no help at all." Callan seemed to notice her mood and asked, "Why do you look unhappy?" Kana coldly replied, "Why do you care, and why are you here?" Callan then gave the excuse he had prepared beforehand, that Kana was violating the contract. Kana thought, contract, oh that. The contract to monitor Lucy's health every day. But Lucy is not sick right now. To him, it must be a very important contract. To protect it. He even barged into the Valentino mansion and messed everything up. What an idiot. Callan flinched at Kana's cold gaze. He asked, "Sister, do you think I am that stupid?" Kana was surprised. Callan continued, "I thought you wanted this situation to continue. Instead of asking me for help, what kind of time did you have at the Valentino house? What is more shocking than seeing my sister being beaten like an animal on the floor is her calm demeanor, as if she is used to being abused." Callan gritted his teeth, becoming even more angry as he recalled the scene. "Is this how the Valentino family treats you, all this time you were at their house?" He sadly covered his face, unable to understand why Kana had not said anything to him and had chosen to endure it. Kana could not help but feel sarcastic. She laughed at Callan's thought. "What good would it do to tell you? It is no different than when I was at the Addis house. For 7 years, during that miserable time, Juwa did not dare ask her parents for help. Childhood memories still linger in my body. Everyone thinks Addis is Kana's family, but they were not even by her side. They were not by Kana's side, just like Kana. Juwa chose to remain silent and endure it alone." Kana continued resentfully, abandoned, oppressed, and sometimes beaten. "That is what the Addis family is like, right?" Callan was startled and wanted to know who had hit her. Kana leaned close to him and whispered, her voice cold as ice, "Your mother, Chloe. When I was little. Your younger brother Osini. Knew." Callan was dumbfounded. "I have never hit you, older sister." Kana explained, "Violence is not limited to physical impact, is it? I'm just saying. Don't tell anyone about this." She then calmly returned to her seat. Callan was still shocked. He refused Kana's request. "No, impossible, I will tell father." "If you tell him, what do you think he will do? Don't make me repeat myself. Nothing will change. And in the future, I warn you, do not ever interfere in my affairs." Callan looked up in disbelief. He stared blankly at his familiar yet unfamiliar older sister. Kana sighed and turned away. "If you're going to be sarcastic like that, I won't talk to you anymore. Can we just be quiet now?" She looked impatiently out of the carriage. Suddenly, the horse pulling the carriage neighed and reared up in fright. The carriage shook violently and swayed. Kana, unprepared, was thrown forward by the momentum. She fell into Callan's arms. He anxiously asked about her condition. After that incident, Kana was frozen, her whole body stiff. Callan shouted to the driver, asking what was going on and why the carriage had suddenly stopped. The frightened driver replied, "I apologize, young master. I think you should come out and see." The carriage door then opened. As soon as he stepped out of the carriage, Callan questioned the man in front of him. "What is this? You are blocking a moving carriage." "Duke Valentino." It turned out that the person causing the commotion was Sylvian. Sylvian maintained his smile and explained, "Because my wife is here." Kana immediately froze, dumbfounded by Sylvian's wife. Callan frowned. "Wife, what are you talking about?" Sylvian patiently repeated, "The person behind you is my wife. Don't you know?" 1,000 question marks appeared in Kana's mind. Since when did this person treat me like a wife? Sylvian did not want to beat around the bush. He immediately dismounted his horse. "Let me say it again. Excuse me." Callan stretched out his arm to push Kana behind him, wanting to protect her from this person. Kana, still shocked, stood frozen beside him. Sylvian quickly approached them and repeated his request. "I want you to return my wife."